This is what happens when you're still recovering from jet lag, which I am. Hi, everybody. How are we doing today? I'm Weebo Jones, and welcome to Cocktail Hour, where I sit by myself alone in a room for about 5 minutes waiting for my co-host to show up. Beautiful. Oh, it feels so good to be back. I missed y'all. How are we this fine evening, ladies and gents? Tonight I am drinking a beer. Stella Artois. I think I said that wrong. Who cares? It's a Stella. This is what my dad drinks. And I happened to be drinking it over the break when I was home alone by myself and had nothing else to do. Well, not nothing else to do. I was in the middle of doing many things. But, you see, I was by myself. And there was a surplus of alcohol in the house, but I didn't feel like drinking anything mixed because I didn't have anything to mix it with. So I just chose a good old Stella. And this is what, like I said, Papa Jones drinks. And I quite like it, actually. It goes down smooth, you know? Yeah, so I specifically bought a 12-pack when I got back from Paris. 12-pack of this, 10 beer brats, a 3-pound can of baked beans, and one of those tiny little mini Walmart pies, you know, the 99-cent ones, because I'd be like that. Because my meal plan didn't kick in until yesterday, I think. Because, like a dumbass, for winter term, I did not sign up for a meal plan. Of course, I automatically get opted in since I'm going to be attending school this semester. I get opted in for this semester's meal plan, but you have to specifically opt in for a winter term meal plan, even if you're going to be gone for 10 days, because there were solid 7 days where I was on campus learning about the French Revolution. But that's, you know, we're going to talk about my Paris trip in graphic detail. Not graphic, but a lot of detail. Excuse me. I had barbecue pork nachos earlier, and it's still, like, digesting. Anyway, we will be talking about all of the Paris adventures that Weebo had on, like, a completely Paris-dedicated stream. So kind of like what I did with the Greek trip, except I will have slimmed down the pictures so that we won't be here for a solid 6 hours straight. Well, not straight, but 6 hours in 2 increments, several months apart from each other. Never fear. Guess who just showed up? So whoever said 3 minutes late, you were correct. Hi, Polly.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. It looks like your otter's still on vacation.
He's heading out on vacation.
See, everyone else is back from break, though, I thought.
What do you mean?
Christmas break is over.
It's been over. Yeah, for a minute now, yeah.
Yeah, it's been over for a while. Everyone that I know should be back on, like, my campus, so no one goes on break late January. Or goes on vacation in late January, do they? Is that a thing?
Well, no, I mean, this otter isn't going on vacation. This is it's part of an inside joke. I just really like the hat.
I know. You explained the inside joke to me. I'm just wondering, like, don't you switch it up? I thought you did.
Yeah, but I mean, I haven't worn this one out yet. I don't think.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
So anyway, you're all freshly vacationed. Drinking French-inspired beer, I see.
This is Belgium.
Yeah, I know, but Artois.
I don't know. I feel like I came back from Paris thoroughly humiliated at how uncultured I am. You know? Because, okay, so I'll tell one Paris story, and it's one that kept happening throughout my stay there for all 10 days. So I'm in Paris. Everywhere I go, the first thing that I say to people is bonjour or bonsoir, depending on the time of day, right? And then the next thing I follow up with is parlez-vous anglais? Which I didn't realize I was saying wrong because I was pronouncing it parlez-vous anglais until halfway through the trip when I asked someone at the Hotel de Crillon how my French was, and they used that, and I used that as an example of it. And he told me that I was saying it wrong. So I've been saying it for half a week already before I realized it. And so anyway, the French only kind of speak a little bit of English, and it was very, very difficult for me to exist there as myself without knowing like a second language or part of a second language, enough of a second language to actually get by. I kept reverting back to my Spanish from high school, and it was kind of humiliating because I think I actually said hola to somebody at some point instead of bonjour. Oh, it was bad. I was thoroughly humiliated. Yeah. Sad face. I went to most of the places. I did go to the Louvre. I went to Musée d'Orsay. Not gonna lie. Paris was both equal parts overwhelming and underwhelming. Overwhelming in that there are so many sites to go see and so much freaking art there. And all of the art, well, not all the art, but all of the architecture is so massive. But it was underwhelming because there's so much of it, right? It got old really quickly.
Really?
It was condensed. And it was all pretty much the same, too. Well, it felt like I was looking at the exact same thing over and over again. And, you know, I know it's kind of insulting to say Saint-Sulpice and Saint-Chapelle and Sacré-Cœur, Basilica all look the same. But they kind of had that similar feeling to them. Like, after a while, oh my gosh, another big building. Cool, I guess. I don't know. Plus, there were a whole bunch of people there all the time, all day, every day. And it didn't help that my feet always hurt either, because we had to walk everywhere.
Yeah,
It was horrible. I don't know. Maybe so much friggin' art. Yes, there was a lot of friggin' art. The Louvre has a lot of friggin' art. And, okay. Polly, the Mona Lisa is the most overhyped thing on the face of this planet. Okay? I want you to know
small,
that.
Huh?
It's so small. Okay, all right. So what they did was they took the Mona Lisa and they put it on this massive freaking blue wall. But it's the only thing on that wall. And in front of that wall is like a zigzag line of a whole bunch of people that you have to wait in line with to see it. Maybe it takes 10, 15 minutes to actually get through the line just to see the thing like eye to eye, right? And it's so small compared to this massive wall that it's on. It doesn't even look all that impressive. Like maybe if it was just in the middle of the room on a stand by itself without a wall.
Just kind of sitting there on an easel. You know.
Like, that would be a lot more impressive because then it feels like less like it was being compared to this freaking blue wall, which, by the way, was not an attractive color of dark blue. No. But then across from the Mona Lisa, which I don't know why you would put this there, there is this big-ass freaking painting just sitting, and it's huge, and it's impressive, not gonna lie. But it's huge compared to this tiny-ass Mona Lisa bitch. And I thought that was more impressive looking than this thing that's been overhyped by all 8,000,100 people that have ever spoken about it, you know? Sorry, that was an exaggeration. But you get my point, right?
I do get your point.
Mm-hmm.
Hang tight for a second. I'll be right back, okay?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Fine. Leave me. It's fine. I'm not super sad about it. Zombie Teddy, did you go down to the catacombs? The day that I was supposed to go down there, they were actually closed. So I did not make it down there. But apparently, this is what I learned from my professor, who is a French historian. Apparently, the French catacombs are specifically designed. They were specifically designed to be a tourist location. Like, they're not an authentic. Well, they are, but they aren't. They are not like a natural catacomb that developed over time because this is the way that they put bodies away because they had no other room. No, they literally had a whole bunch of bodies left over from the plague just sitting in a grave one day, and they're like, what should we do with all these people? Oh, I know. We have all of these mines underneath Paris. Let's just shove them in there strategically and all that jazz. So here we are. Excuse me. What else do we got? Yeah, if you guys want to ask me questions, just at me on the chat and I will see my orange name and I will totally... Ooh, it's in top chat. That's not a good time. And I will most certainly make an effort to answer those questions. But like I said, I do want to do like a specifically Paris-themed stream where I just go through all my pictures and talk about them. So I'll try not to give too much of that away in this stream. There are so many other things that have happened that are so much more interesting than my trip to Paris. I'm not gonna lie. Paris was, I don't want to say a letdown because it wasn't a letdown, but it was not as, it's not the way that it had been expressed to me. I don't know. I kept comparing it to the Greece trip the whole time I was there. And I think Greece kind of ruined me for everywhere else. Unfortunately. I don't know. Is the kitty still alive? Asked Daniel Fulman. Yes. I hadn't seen Bonsai all week since I got back from my trip, but I saw her today when I was in Bailick's room helping him move back into his room. And we just happened to look across the hallway at, the Asians section of the... God, that sounds so bad. The Asian section of the house. Because for whatever reason, that's the way that things were designed. I look across and the guy's opening up his door and he's trying not to let the cat out. Low key though, all right? I think Bonsai might be pregnant. I'm not 100% certain on this, but there are three things that indicate this to me. First off, right before I left to go to Paris, I noticed that Bonsai was a little bit thick. And by a little bit, I mean like thick girl for a cat, not like in the overeating way, but like in the thick girl kind of way, like there's something in that. There's something in that oven brewing. And the reason I realized this because I was trying to get her out of my room as I'm literally on my way to the bus to go to the airport. And I didn't want to lock her in my room because she was just chilling there, hanging out, like as one does. And I pick her up, she hisses at me. And she's not like an aggressive cat, but I had, I grabbed her around the middle, the meaty section, because she ain't gonna fall that way. She hisses at me, and that was when I noticed that she was thick. The third thing that I realized, or that has kind of indicated that to me, is that I hadn't seen Bonsai since I got back. So that could either mean one of two things, because they usually let her roam around wherever she wants. But I hadn't seen Bonsai since I got back until today. Either they had eaten her, or they were keeping her in with her litter, which is what you're supposed to do when you have like a new litter and a new mom, right? You're supposed to keep them together because the kittens need to be able to, get some milk from mama because sustenance is important and all that jazz. What kind of wine did you smuggle back? I did not smuggle wine back. I smuggled soap and a cigar for Bailick. And a shot glass for boyfriend because he likes collecting those. But I did not get any wine because it was all in French and I couldn't understand what I was looking at. So, plus, I don't want to say it wasn't good wine, but I couldn't find a wine that I really liked, which when I went to Greece, I did. But that was also because we went to a winery specifically, like a vineyard specifically. I tried to make it to a wine bar, but the one that my professor had recommended to me was kind of in the shitter. Like, it had changed management, and so it wasn't as good as it was. So I didn't even bother. Plus, I was out of money by the 9th day? Yeah. Did I eat escargot? I did. Hello, fellow garbage humors, says Professor Platypus. Yes, we are fellow garbage humans. Garbage people. Did it smell like cheese in Paris? No, it smelled like city. And I quickly realized, okay, this is what I realized. I'm not a big city person. Like, after the 5th day of being in Paris, I realized that, nope, this is not for me. Like, I could visit for a weekend or so, but I'm a country girl. And by country, I mean, like, the, outer suburbs of Chicagoland area. I don't know. Where the cornfields meet manicured lawn. Oh, that sounds so pathetic. Hi, Polly, you're back. Are you okay?
Yep. I had started a pot of coffee there because I was like, if I'm going to drink, I need to make me some proper coffee here to put my bourbon in. And so I had to go. The water was sitting there, and that's why I had to go real quick because 4 minutes on a French press, which has nothing to do with the French, by the way. Screw the French.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know. Weebs, you set me off. You pissed me off. I'm not going to lie.
How did I piss you off?
Because you described yourself as uncultured. Man, fuck them.
No, okay. So the only reason I felt uncultured is because
I don't like hearing you
barely know a
way,
second language.
or anyone.
Huh?
So okay, fine. You're not multilingual. They're guttural idiots that have a fucking highfalutin opinion of themselves. I have never been to France, but I have encountered many a Frenchman over here, and the arrogance that they roll with, it is well earned. It's like, I am from the height of cultural achievement. Like, that's really the way that they talk. And I was sitting there, and we were having a conversation about wine, right? And the particular wine that we were talking about was Chateau Neuf de Pape, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I said that I named that name of that particular winery came up, and I said it, and they said, oh, blah, 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 blah. And they said it again with their, idiotic French flourish of pronunciation. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm familiar.
I looked at them with like, if looks could kill, I would have blown that fucking person's head right off. Because it was like, I'm listening to you butcher every single fucking English word you're saying to the point where I'm struggling to keep up with what the fuck you're even saying. And I'm not correcting your pronunciation constantly. I say one French phrase and it's like, oh, fuck you, frog. Like, these people. So like, for you to call yourself uncultured, like these people could be like an 80 IQ, stupid as fuck, smelly as hell, which is also a true stereotype, by the way. Even the women have a fucking BO problem that I've encountered. And they'll look at other people as being, oh, well, you're uncultured. Oh, fuck them. They have the arrogance of SJWs the way they roll. Sorry, I'm done.
No, okay, so I also say that not just because I'm not multilingual, but also because going into France, I was so unprepared. Not like, because it's just another city in that respect, but it's a city filled with so much history, and I did not adequately prepare myself for all of that history. Like, when I went to Greece, I knew everything about ancient Greece, and not everything, but I knew so much more about ancient Greece than just your average normie traveler person. Going to France, though, all that I was going off of was French Revolution. Because that's all that we had prepared for.
Well, hold on, let me just slip
much more.
Let me just slip something in here real quick. Hey,
yeah,
a few quick things. One, okay, Greece. Oh, there was so much history. I can understand the idea of I wish I was more prepared. Don't ever think of yourself as uncultured, unprepared. Okay, I can buy that. Cool. Right.
Okay. So maybe I used the wrong word.
Well, I'm not condemning you. I'm just saying, don't talk about yourself that way. Fuck them. They're no one to compare to yourself to.
Oh, thanks.
No, but you said like there's so much history there. Well, yeah, you've been to Greece, and there's a lot more and a lot better history over there. And you could go to Jerusalem and find even more ancient and better history over there. And Pincalo, you motherfucker. He's like, can you show us where Jean-Francois touched you? Well, let me tell you something about Jean-Francois Guerry. He's not even a Frenchman. He's a
French Canadian.
Yeah, I'm not even going to give the respect of saying Quebecois. Fuck you, you're a Quebecer.
Wait, is that how you pronounce it?
Quebecois? Oh, probably not by their standard, but there's no way you can pronounce it. They live to fucking correct people's pronunciation of their guttural tones.
That does remind me of something, a point that I want to make about the French language. They have so many extra letters in the words that they're not even using, so why the fuck are they there? Like, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you think the PHs in English are bad, like PH becoming an F sound, like just little weird things like that, silent letters, the K and knife and so forth. Oh, French is so much more complicated in that way. But just real quick about the Quebecers,
Mhm.
there's multiple types of French Canadians, but the Quebecers, and since we insist they're the French Canadians. Okay, what about the Acadians? I've met Acadians. They don't carry on with the fucking arrogance that the Quebecers do. Quebec, you're a defeated people. The English defeated you a long time ago. If it wasn't for the fucking cucks that run the Canadian government, you would have been trampled under heel a long time ago. There's nothing to be arrogant over. And I happen to know France does not think very highly of Quebec. Like that's like distant provincial French. It's not real French. It's like being from one of the former African colonies and speaking, or one of the former French African colonies and speaking French. It's not the same thing. These people live to be arrogant, even looking down upon people that speak the same language and are from the same culture as them. I don't know. I just can't stand to deal with that kind of hierarchy of looking down on people. It's
in that sense.
Yeah, it's decidedly un-American, honestly. There's a classlessness that comes along with it, that there's social mobility in America. There's that I'm this thing and you're not. So that's just not a very American way of looking at things. There's a strain of cultural egalitarianism that I really appreciate. And only when you go to the UK and see how stratified their society really still is in a lot of ways. And when you talk to Germans and they see, well, we're all German, but I'm Prussian and this person's, like all these little splits and different things like that. It just, I don't know. All this Euro trash makes me sick. Okay, I'm done. I just started getting caffeinated and I've been drinking, and you brought up France.
No, that's
and I went
fair.
nuts.
You came in swinging, and that's exactly what I needed. I miss you, Polly, so much.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a lot. Now, on the positive note, there's a lot of history I would like to see in France. Not so much the art. That's more your thing than mine, and I'd like to hear more about that. But the basilicas, I'd like to see the Catholic history that they now look down their nose at and defend Islam in state of. That history that goes back a millennium plus. I would like to see that.
That would, that would be cool. I quickly realized that it wasn't so much art that I'm interested in as stonework, like facades,
okay,
masonry, architecture, like paintings. Those are cool, but I don't really give a shit compared to, say, these larger than life Greek statues or something, because they do have an entire section of the Louvre dedicated to Greek and Roman antiquity, which I found to be strange, but pretty cool. I got a little bit excited when we watched Past the Victory, and when we walked past the replica of the Chryselephanine cult statue of Athena, which I happen to be kind of an expert in. I don't mean to brag. When I went to Greece, I had to give that report, so I know things. Speaking of things that have nothing to do with what I just said, I'm out of frame. Sorry. I'm trying to do better. I promise. Thank you to Evolved Potato for the French were only good when they were called the Francia. Is that true? Were they ever that? Is that the case?
The Frankish kings, yeah, the whole.
No.
Going back to Dagobert II and
I have a very
the Merovingian dynasties and so forth. No, nothing. Okay.
No, you are talking to someone who has a very broad understanding of European history until we get to Greece.
Hey, I'm not. European history is just understanding the tensions between the states that existed before World War I is a fucking nightmare that could take you a lifetime. Like, right? That eye roll. It's so
right.
Wow. Just Western European history in the
because the borders are perpetually changing, and this cousin was marrying this cousin, and this cousin was marrying this cousin, and all that jazz.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, pick a country or cultural tradition. Like, I want to study Franco-Prussia. I want to study England. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go small and and spread from there. Just understanding 20th century Italy, the warring states and Mussolini bringing them under what? Oh my God.
You know what would be fun? Family, like exclusively just the Medici family.
What about them?
Anything that they do, just to study their activity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just real quick over on
Also,
the
if I went to the
Streamlabs.
Oh, sorry. For whatever
No,
reason,
it's all
it's
right.
breaking up, Ollie.
I am.
Yeah, a little bit. So I think I will have just.
So are you. So it's probably actually me then. Okay, I'm gonna reread this. Read this donation, and then I might drop and rejoin real quick.
Okay, do it.
Thank you very much, Harry Channel, for the $5. Montreal smoked meat, maple syrup, and pretty B-list TV actresses in no way make up for their attitude and giving us Celine Dion. That was good. I was like, where are you going with it got funny really fast.
It did.
Yeah, irate prostate says it is me. Okay, I'm gonna drop and rejoin, and hopefully that'll address it.
Okay, good. In the meantime, I will answer Tiberius Kirk. Did you go to Chateau Picard? I did not. There were a lot of places to visit. I did not get to do as much as I wanted to. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to go to the catacombs because they were closed the day that I wanted to go. You know what was really interesting is I went to the Musée de Nissan Commando, which is a museum that is okay, so it was built in the 20th century, but it's decorated in the 18th century style, which was, pretty decadent. Which is putting it very lightly. It's a very decadent lifestyle and way of going about doing things, but it's not done in a serial fashion. And what I mean by this is it's a mansion. The museum isn't a mansion. It is something that was donated from a very rich man after he died to the state, essentially to just be a museum of 18th century decoration. But the house is not constructed as you would expect something from the 18th century to be constructed. And what I mean by this is that 18th century French styled architecture is done in a very serial-like manner. So you have like the first room, which is the drinks room, and then like the snack room, the hors d'oeuvres room, sorry. And then you have the game room, and then you have, well, in the case of Versailles, you have like the throne room, and then the bedding room, because you have to watch the king. You have to say goodnight to the king before he goes to bed, and then you have like the rest of the living situation that only like close friends of the crown are allowed to hang out in. That would be like a more 18th century style architecture where they have room after room after room. Instead, this house was constructed more in a round style, wherein the rooms you could meander between without having to go through like half the house to get to the room that you wanted to get to, which was really cool. I actually really liked that compared to Versailles. The Musée de Nissan Commando was actually a lot cooler than the Palace of Versailles, which is saying a lot because everyone hypes up Versailles all the time. And I have pictures. I have so many pictures of both of those locations. And you'll see what I mean when I do the stream. I haven't finished prepping everything yet, but I will. I promise. And we'll do that. I know. Never fear. See, y'all like that nonsense. So, Polly, did that fix it?
I don't know. But what I did just do is disable audio processing within StreamYards. I'm curious. You guys are going to have to tell me what happens. Auto gain controls turned off, echo controls turned off. It says don't do it unless you've got a high quality mic. So I don't know. We'll have to find out.
Nice.
Do I sound any different to you there, Weeps?
Yeah, I can actually hear all the words that you're saying in the order that they were being said.
Yeah, but okay. Smart ass. All right.
There's no like buffering in between your words, and that's good.
That's good. I meant like it. I'm especially worried about the auto gain control. Like, am I suddenly like a hell of a lot louder or more quiet than I should be or need to be? I don't know. We'll find out.
Fair.
Oh, somebody over on Noir Bar gave me an idea
Yeah.
that for the next video that we could do in tandem. You
Hmm?
you get to judge my taste in women again.
Really?
Did you
I
see the
love
way her
this.
face just lit right the fuck up there, Chad? Holy
I
shit!
love this game.
You want to hear this?
Yes.
I will rank order the Bond women.
Yes.
Fun, right?
Oh, this is a move I can get behind. Polly, please, yes.
Yeah. Somebody said you should. Oh shit, who was it? Somebody said like, oh, if you're looking for a point of discussion, kind of barroom discussion, this of the sort that happens at Noir Bar, you should just talk about your favorite Bond women. And I was like, hey, I should get together with Weaves and do an edited video on that. That would be awesome.
Would be a good time.
Why
And
is
I
I
should
Ray
be
Prostrate suddenly saying fuck Polly? What the hell did I do, man? Shit.
fuck Polly. Yep, I can relate. Speaking of which, our collaborated content. Hey, Polly, how's that last collaboration that we were working on
Oh,
getting?
holy shit. I totally forgot about that. Like, oh my God.
I go to France, and all of a sudden, Polly, all of Polly shit's up in the air. He can't tie his shoes without me. Well, Polly.
Weebs, I was lost without you. What can I say? I didn't know whether I was coming or going. I just.
Do I need to color coordinate a calendar for you, sir?
It's funny you bring up a color coordinated calendar.
It is.
Yeah, well, not funny like haha funny, like oh that reminds me funny.
Yes.
There's a lot of times I wish that you weren't so facially expressive because you. Maybe I should just like minimize the screen where you're talking because I'm like I'm constantly getting little eye
Okay,
rolls and
I got
looks
you.
of
I got
contempt.
you. I will be stone faced for the rest of this
Yeah,
conversation.
just pretend to be Natalie Portman. It'll make my life easier. Just
Is it working?
purse those lips, girl. Let's see.
I fucking can't do it. I can't. Okay.
Okay. There's not actually a big story behind this. I created a new Google account specifically to be able to use the color coded scheduler function.
You can do that with any Google account, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to use my regular Google account because then it'll be like, man, fuck Google. They're all, oh, well, this contact information, and we're going to connect this to your location, and then we're going to, oh, fuck them, man. I created a specific account just to run a scheduler on my phone with, so it's all good. The point is, the whole reason I did that, I thought, Weebs is really organized, and I'm used to using the scheduler for reminders only. Like, let's say I got a doctor's appointment or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will go to the calendar function that came with my LG phone, like the native app, and click on the date and set a reminder for one day prior so I don't forget it for things like that. But in terms of planning out a scheduler, oh man, I live my life footloose and fancy free.
They give me like an uncomfortable chill down my spine. Like, oh god, I couldn't imagine that. That's terrifying. Yeah.
Oh, Kiever Dam. DuckDuckGo is better. That is absolutely my preferred search engine, and I use it constantly. Yeah, in terms of search engines, DuckDuckGo kicks ass over Google all the way. Highly recommended. But they don't have the. Hey, if there's a calendar function for DuckDuckGo, I don't know. Is there? I'll use it in a hot second.
Well, I think you'd have to have an account for that.
With DuckDuckGo?
Well, okay. So, like, if you wanted to connect up to all of your devices, which is what I have right now currently,
right?
And so, like, my laptop, my computer, the phone, the tablet that I foolishly bought and did not use for when it was that I went to Paris and then returned unceremoniously because it didn't work out. All of that was synced up, and so I could access my calendar whenever I wanted to, just using that. And it would keep me in sync everywhere I went.
Gotcha.
And also it saves things for a lot longer. I think. I don't know. Oh, gotta switch camera angles. Awkwardly back into frame. Hi, thank you, Connor Johnson, for the stream. Sorry. I don't know why I'm laughing. For the super chat donation, watch Disney's The Owl House. It's fantastic. Noted. Okay.
Nice.
All right. Let's go back into the frame.
Chaos Eve is very insistent that you know that she loves my nails. I don't know why she wants you to know that, but you can just tell me.
She loves my nails, not your nails, Polly.
Oh, I misread that. I thought she was talking about mine. Fine.
Okay, so side tangent, right? In terms of beauty shenanigans.
Let's see your nails up close. Like, do the whole, show us the thing. Oh, nice. Yeah, absolutely. Look at that.
I'm not as impressed with these as I'd like to be. So for $27, you would expect that your nails, don't have weird little imperfections in them when you run your fingers over them, which is something that really annoys me. And also you would expect that the clear coating covers the entirety of all of the color to protect the color from being chipped off and away. But that was not the case. And also when you leave the nail salon, you would expect that the clear coat is not over half of your actual finger. It's supposed to just go on the nail, not on the pads of your thumbs and forefingers, right? Mm-hmm. So I was not super impressed. I will be leaving a heckin' of a review on the website. I will not be going back to that nail salon. Fortunately, I don't have very many options in the middle of nowhere, but we will find a different place. I've realized that I really like darker colors just because they look cooler, but I can totally rock a French manicure, which I totally did in France. Because one of the things that I did in France was I got a French manicure in France, which is just a white little smiley face on the edge of your nail that covers up the nasty, grody, long nail look that happens after your nails leave the finger part or overextend or overgrow past the finger part. Are you vaping, Polly?
No.
What's that little noise that I hear? Are you sipping?
Your imagination?
No. What are you doing?
I'm vaping.
Ah! I have another co-host that vapes now. Gosh,
well, I am a grad student. We are by definition nicotine and caffeine addicts. Leave it alone.
That's fair. Although I wouldn't call it an addiction until you graduate. Just saying.
Oh yeah, no, yes, that is. I remember you saying that before, and I strongly agree. It's not alcoholism until you've graduated.
Mm-hmm.
In Lime Patriots like Poly vapes. Yeah, I do because unfortunately my rental agreement specifically prohibits smoking indoors, and I'd like to retrieve my security deposit.
Couldn't you just chew nicotine gum, and that's how you do it?
Said the non-smoker. I've tried nicotine gum, and it's just there's an oral fixation with it of hand to mouth. One of the ways that, before I started vaping, one of the things that would actually hold off the tendency to smoke is sunflower seeds, because you're constantly doing a hand to mouth motion. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And it becomes part of it. I mean, you're into psychology, you get it, right?
I understand 100%.
There's a big aspect to it of the oral aspect of it, and then blowing a vapor, and it's through the inhalation of something that you're getting nicotine. It's checking a bunch of boxes that are extremely similar to smoking. That's why it's so effective and spread like it did. Now, with that said, I don't know all about these fruity flavors and these fucking kids with their huge fucking vape clouds and shit. I'm doing it to get nicotine, man. I get the high fucking milligram shit and do it like a man.
I don't think I'll ever understand the whole nicotine buzz thing, because my only experience with smoking ever was I smoked a cigar about that big, by myself, by the way. So be proud of me, guys. I'm super cool like that. Oh, I was out of frame. Sorry. No, but I smoked a cigar about that big by myself when my grandfather passed, because he was a big smoker. Lived to a very good age. died having already just like smoked a pack that day. Anyway, I smoked it to kind of honor him, which sounds kind of silly, but it helped me feel closer to him. So that's like of my ability or my experience when it comes to inhalants of any sort. My drugs of choice, obviously, have always been caffeine and more recently alcohol. So
Right.
I get one's a depressant, one's a stimulant. Drink coffee to wake up and alcohol to go to bed. Ha 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 ha. But it's not an addiction. I promise.
I'm just looking at some of the names of Bond girls right now. Weebo, this is just like the entendre names, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing can outdo, nothing can go further than pussy galore. That's obviously the tops, pussy galore.
You think that was like not just something that they nicknamed her in the lore of the movie? And like, do you think it was an actual like name?
What do you mean?
Like
there's somebody else named that?
No, not like we're not talking about reality, right? Like there's someone out there named that. We're talking about within the canon of the movie, right? Do you think that Pussy Galore's actual parents within the movie,
right,
actually named her that, or is it just a nickname that she acquired? Like, what's Pussy Galore's backstory here, Polly?
That's a good question. I actually don't remember. Like Xena on the top is just like really bad, like Russian pun, right?
Yeah.
It's like the name on the top sounds like the bitch be riding the dick, yo, like on the top. The pussy was like, okay, pussy's like a nickname that can work. It's only like recently, relatively speaking, that pussy's come to mean JJ, you know? So it's like, yeah, you could call that used to be like stereotypically like a rich girl's nickname within her family.
Really?
Yeah, like, you know, like aristocratic society. You'd name your daughter like shockingly now, but it would be like a nickname would be like pussy, like as you know, like sissy, pussy. To call Samantha Sammy, you know, it was friendly sounding, you know.
That's fair. Okay, yes, I understand.
Right. So I'm betting that pussy is not her real name. It's a nickname, and they're just using the entendre of it, like last name galore. So it's like she's pussy everywhere, you know. Okay, but I'm just looking at some of the other ones, and they're so bad. Like it's something we would come up with to make fun of them. Like Holly Goodhead got named in chat. Plenty O'Toole, really?
I'm digging all of these names. A good time. She is fictitious. Yes, we understand that. But what we're talking about goes deeper than that. Right?
Yeah, it's like Weebs was asking within the fictional universe, was that her actual name or was Pussy a nickname that was given to her? And it's like, that's a good question. It's like James Bond might be called Jimmy by one of his American friends. Like Felix Leiter called him Jimmy at one point, but his name isn't really Jimmy. It's James.
But Jimmy's like a nickname for James sometimes. I hear. Yeah, no, that's just okay. That's one of those things.
Zombie Teddy says, did you know that Rowan Atkinson was in a Bond movie, Octopussy, I think? No. It wasn't Octopussy. It was the forgotten and I think unfairly scorned Bond movie, Never Say Never Again, which was actually an outstanding movie just because it wasn't made by the same production company. They're all like, Eon Productions didn't make it. So they're like, and it's a remake of Thunderball. Who cares? It's got a super hot Bond girl in the form of, oh shit, what's her name? Was married to Alec Baldwin, went broke because she gave money to her whole family to go into weirdo business ventures. She played Vicky Vale in Batman '89. What's her name? Kim Basinger.
Asking the wrong person here. I don't know these things. You sure?
Kim Basinger.
You sure? Positive?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's the last Sean Connery Bond film. Going
on a low note? If it's a remake of Thunderball, isn't that kind of just a remake?
I would argue that it's better than Thunderball. Personally, it's directed by
Well,
the same director as Empire Strikes Back.
I can't remember
Irvin
every
Kershner.
Bond movie I've ever seen. I should probably. Ooh, you know what? Balak and I should do that this semester because it's our last semester. We gotta find something to watch throughout the semester. So maybe we'll do that.
I would. I would do it, and I do it chronologically. It's surprising how quickly you just end up chewing through all the Bond films. About a year ago, I'm like, I'm watching them chronologically. Doctor No, let's go, like from the beginning. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it was when I was reloading and painting minis, and I've got like a laptop over in my loadatorium. That's what I call the
Hmm.
room where I do my reloading, the loadatorium.
Yeah.
And so I had a laptop and just watching them, and holy crap, do you ever pile through them fast? And you end up getting an appreciation of the different eras. You see when it very clearly when it changes from a 60s style to a 70s style to a, oh my god, Bond just went blaxploitation, and then holy shit, they're riffing off of Star Wars now and Moonraker, and then back to a more original. Like you get to see the trends as you're watching them in rapid succession. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
All right. All right.
And
I'll run that idea past Balak then.
yeah. And Lion Patriot says Roger Moore is best Bond. Thank you, Lion Patriot. Everyone likes to disrespect Roger Moore. I love Roger Moore as Bond. It's
See, I'm gonna get crap for this, but I think my favorite Bond was Pierce Bronson.
yeah, no, that's not an uncommon opinion. He's got the look and the style to play a certain kind of Bond. I like the more
Mm,
reserved panache of Roger Moore. I think the two films that crap, Living Daylights and License to Kill. What's the actor's name? Shit. Timothy Dalton. When I saw them again, I was like, why are these films so disrespected? They're both actually pretty fucking good. It was the first time you see Bond as in a long time as they're really action oriented. It's like proto Jason Bourne almost,
mhm.
and they were really good. Timothy Dalton did a great job. There hasn't been a bad Bond yet, like actor as far as I'm concerned. They all play him really well, just in different ways.
See, Irie Prostate brings up Daniel Craig being perfect, and I didn't like Daniel Craig for
No,
whatever reason. I just like Bond. I don't know why. I just maybe it was because that segment of the Bond franchise felt like it went deeper than I wanted it to. Like I was always cool with just James Bond being just James Bond. Like there was no backstory, there was no, over the top emotional subplot that we had to care about where anyone was genuinely like and anyone we genuinely care about was dying or whatever. And Daniel Craig's kind of tenure as James Bond just kind of made it more real, which made it less fun for me.
hmm.
Because I can do real, I can do the sad bit, but if I'm not expecting it, then I'm not gonna enjoy it as much. Does that make
That's an
sense?
interesting take on that, and I could see that. I could
Yeah.
actually see that. It has to be a little bit more fantastical for you to get into the enjoyment. It's if it's too real and dramatic, you're not there in the same way, that kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of.
I could
And
see
Bond
that.
was always when I was a kid, because that was my dad. Okay. So the reason why I like James Bond, but I don't know a single like actor's name, or I couldn't tell you the title of anything. I'd just be like, "Oh, I've seen that one." If you described it to me, the reason why that's the case is because I grew up watching them, um, because my dad would put them on because
Right.
he was a big James Bond fan. He's always been a big action movie person. So I also grew up watching like some westerns and other action movies, and only like the ones that really stuck out to me. For whatever reason, Die Another Day is the only James Bond movie that I like really know really well. I don't know why.
I get
Maybe
my
it was
ex-girlfriend
the
was a lot
initial
like
part.
that. She had seen all the Bond movies because of her dad, and but they had all sort of blended
Yeah.
and blurred. And it's like, yeah, if you describe scenes and stuff, she would know them absolutely. Like different
Mhm.
and different. What was the one movie where blah 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 blah? Like she doesn't know them by name and stuff like that because she just saw them with her dad growing up, so they all became one big long 30-hour blur. You know,
Exactly. Yeah, like I could tell you, okay, so the one that sticks out in my mind right now is the one where James Bond is like with a voodoo witch doctor person and there's like a thing of snakes or something.
oh yeah, that was Live and Let Die. Yeah, that was
Yes,
the
okay.
blaxploitation Bond. It was
I
Roger
love
Moore.
that movie.
Yeah, it is really fun. That movie, I mean, Bond in Harlem was
Yeah.
hilarious because it was a fish out of water moment deliberately. He goes into the bar as like the reserved Englishman and he goes, a double bourbon, please, because he's trying to fit in, right? He's not going to order, a martini or whatever.
Oh,
And
no.
he just gets caught up, and it's got Yaphet Kotto as the villain, as a fantastic Bond villain. It was great. Yeah.
Is that also the one with the alligator, where like the alligator scene where he was in an alligator?
Where he runs over top of their heads.
No, he was in a fake alligator doing spy work.
Oh
As
yeah,
the
I remember. I forget which Bond that was. It when the head of the alligator goes up and Bond's in it. Yeah, I
it
forget
pops
which
out,
one
and
that
I'm just
was
like,
in.
oh my god, that's so cool. And for
Yeah.
whatever reason, the only other movie that I can think of that relates to that is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Well, chat's saying a bunch of interesting things. Like I heard Prostate said Jane Seymour, sexy Jane Seymour. Holy Christ, yeah, she was the Bond girl in Live and Let Die, and I think that was her screen premiere. Like young
Yeah,
Jane Seymour. Holy Christ, yeah, she was bewitching. My God. Daniel Fulman asked, "What was your favorite Bond gadget?"
the
I
alligator.
don't know why. I think it has to be the pen. He got an Octopussy, the fountain pen, because it did so many things. It had a little. You'll dig this. Okay, check this out, Weeps. It was a pen, classic fountain pen, right? And it came with a little device that was a listening device.
Uh
And
huh.
he dropped it inside a Fabergé egg, and then you
Yeah.
pulled off the end of the pen, and it was an earpiece where you could listen in to what the microphone was doing. But then it also had a button that would fire a rocket out of it. It was great.
I do remember that. Okay, all right, all right. I'm gonna change my answer. It's no longer the alligator suit thing. Um, the one is the car from Die Another Day because it was such an awesome car. Because I can pick a car, right? That technically is a
Oh,
gadget.
absolutely, you can. Yeah.
Excellent.
So
Yeah.
many people say the White Lotus is their favorite Bond gadget because it was just such a memorable looking car, and it landed in the ocean and became a submarine. The
Ooh,
windows and the tires sealed up, and it put out little fins and became like you could drive it underwater.
I don't remember. I'd have to see a picture of it, probably. I don't know. I
Well,
just really
Daniel
like thinking
Fulton
of
says,
the
"We
car.
made you the moment you crossed 54th Street." I forgot about that line. Right? He was like a cotton ball hanging out in. Somebody actually says that he's as hard to spot as a cotton ball because he's the only white guy in Harlem.
Black exploitation. Does that actually make it black exploitation just because there were a whole bunch of black people in that movie?
No, I reference that because the era it was made in. Bond
Mhm.
is always influenced. Oh, well, okay. A lot of the time is influenced by what's going on in cinema at the time. Like
Yeah.
Moonraker is clearly a reference to Star Wars hit big, science fiction, science fantasy hit big, and all of a sudden you've got Bond in a spaceship shooting lasers. Like what the fuck? And martial arts movies got really big, so you see Bond going in training to become a ninja, and blaxploitation films got really big. So let's do Bond in that. You can just see the influences of what was going on in and around it in
Yeah.
not all, but a lot of the Bonds.
That's fair. Okay, I'd have to rewatch everything because, like I said, I watched all of these when I was a young Weebo, a small and an infant, if you will, and so I definitely did not pick up on any of this stuff
When she
at
was
all.
just a wee weebs.
Yeah. Well, that's the case with a lot of movies that I've seen in my day. I didn't pick up on a lot of stuff as opposed to now I am so freaking picky about everything. You can't shut me up in a movie theater. Polly, it's bad. It's a horrible habit, which is actually a good thing
No, no,
because you
no.
also do that.
Yeah,
I just
exactly. No,
I
no.
just remembered.
You're saying all sorts of horrible things about yourself that I will not abide by tonight. It's
You appreciate me talking while we're watching a movie, so it's fine.
Well, it's because there's not a lot of people that are cool with that. So when you find
Yeah.
someone else who's cool with that, it's a good thing. Chat, you should have heard us when we were watching Pride and Prejudice. It was, I mean, the movie was 2 hours, but it took us like 3 to watch it because it was.
Yeah. Because we kept pausing it like, all right, so who's this? Yeah? Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Go.
Who's this? Well, what's this guy? Well, okay, I always really liked him because, and there's like, intervening
Yeah, I had to give him
conversation
my
stuff.
long-winded explanation,
I was
of
fine with it. It
this
fleshed the
thinking.
movie out and actually made it
Hmm.
more intelligible. Otherwise, it wouldn't have stuck and registered as much.
Ooh, we should do more movie nights like that. That's
Well,
always
we
fun.
remember there's one on deck,
Yes, that's right. What was it again?
The Departed.
The Departed. I think I have a sticky note with that on it, actually. Let's see.
Conspiracy,
No.
Occult, Illuminati, and NWO Media Review says, A Spy Who Loved Me, Best Moore film. There's my favorite Bond moment. I believe it's at the very beginning of that film, the pre-title crawl aspect of it. So Bond is up on a mountain ski cabin hideaway with a lady, because of course
Yeah.
he is, right?
Of
So he's
course.
having this romantic encounter and he gets a dee like MI6 needs him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like, Bond, you have to come now. And so he gets up right away because he's a patriot and he's a man of action. He's got to do what he's got to do, right? So
Of course.
he puts on his suit and he gets out and ready to leave. And she says, but James, you can't leave. I need you. And he's stepping out of the door and he looks back and he goes, so does England. And I was like, fuck yes, Bond.
Okay. All right. Speaking of spy movies, there are at least 3 other franchises of spy movies that I could come up with, and I want to hear your opinion on all of them. So,
Sure.
I'm gonna
If I've seen them. Yeah.
Okay. Austin Powers.
Fun overall.
Okay.
I enjoyed them the way I saw them. For me personally, no one else needs to agree. It wears a little thin. That's all.
Yeah. So, like, after the 3rd movie, you'd be like,
Yeah,
This is
the film with
movie?
Beyonce is just pure trash. It's like you guys are on autopilot at this point.
now, is that because you are not a big fan of Beyonce, or simply because it was just not as good a film because it wore you out?
I would actually have to agree with both those statements. It's like I'm not a fan of Beyonce, number one. It's not that she was horrible in it. It's just the premise had worn thin at that point
Okay.
for me. And I think a lot of it is the endless quoting. Those movies are not as quotable for me as they are for other people. Yeah, baby. And all the lines I've heard way too many times from people.
That's fair. Okay. All right. I can understand that. Next on the list, Kingsman Secret Service.
Seen it, barely remember it. I remember enjoying it, but I just don't remember it that well.
You don't even remember the John Denver death scene?
No.
The 2nd movie. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Well, one of the spies.
They kind of blended. I don't know.
That's fair. Okay, so one of the guys, he was the bald one with the glasses and the snaggletooth. He starts singing "Take Me Home, Country Road" by John Denver, and then he goes and basically commits suicide to save his compatriots, as one does. But it was a very emotional scene, and he exploded by landmine after that.
Yeah, I remember that now that you described it. Over on the Streamlabs of All Potato, thank you very much. Best spy movie ever made is G-Force. I don't know
Isn't
film.
that the one with the guinea pigs?
I'm gonna have to look it up right now. Of All Potato, I'm not even.
I think it might
what
be.
film you're talking about, but
I
I'm curious.
really think it might be. Okay, 3rd franchise.
It's a second studio album by Kenny G. Don't think this is the same one.
No, I don't think so either. All right, I'm gonna help you look this up.
That was just the first hit that came up when I looked for it.
The gravitational
You're a Kenny
force
G fan, man?
equivalent,
Shit.
or more communally, G-force, is measurement of the type of force per unit mass, typically acceleration, that causes ... I don't think
Oh,
that's
it's an animated Disney film. It's a family
It
adventure
is the
comedy.
guinea pig movie.
Yeah. Oh, I'd watch this for fun. Produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. Least surprising thing ever. I'd watch this film for fun. Why not?
I never saw it, but you know what? It's got guinea pigs in it, so I can get behind that action.
Yeah.
Okay. Next franchise.
Sure.
Mission Impossible.
You know what? It's interesting you bring it up. Okay. I didn't really like the first one that much.
Okay.
I can't really put my finger on why, but the further they got into the series, the more I started to really, really enjoy the rip-roaring action of it. Like,
Yeah,
by
is
the
it
time
because of the stunts that they were pulling at that point.
And at that point, I'm watching in the theater, and I go to a lot of these films with one of my friends who's willing to like talk shit in the theater, and we applaud scenes we like. We're that guy in the theater. Like when by the time I got to Ghost Protocol and so forth, we both of us were really enjoying them. Like John Wick, like when they put effort into the choreography, the action.
Yeah.
That scene where Tom Cruise is off the side of the plane was fucking awesome. Like it looked real, of course, because it was, and it was very, very well filmed. And Tom Cruise, good on you for doing that stunt, because it sells that scene. It makes it look death-defying. I realize he's strapped in, not actually just hanging on. But at the end of that scene, we were both just like, holy fuck, that was worth the price of admission right there.
Did you see the most recent one?
I have. As they've gone along, I've enjoyed them more and more, which is usually the opposite direction. Usually the sequels end up getting lower and lower in quality. They're getting better and better.
Up with really weird, fucked up shit. Like even the fight scene between Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill. Good shit. The helicopter fight. Oh my god. That's a note to end on, I'm not gonna lie. Like before they even actually have to, mesh heads or whatever, the helicopter battle where they're actually going at each other in helicopters together. Like, did you know that Tom Cruise actually had to certify and get his license to fly the helicopter in order to do that scene?
No, I didn't, but I can believe that Cruise is willing to go that far, because it's kind of like what Evolved Potato just said right there. Whatever else you have to say about Tom Cruise, he does awesome stunts. Amen. Exactly. Like you can trash talk the guy, and there's all sorts of really weird shit about the dude, et cetera, but no question, the man does awesome stunts and commits to it. He got helicopter certified, really. That's fucking awesome.
So my family, we watched it in theaters, and then we watched it like at the house, and we have the DVD package with the special features on it. And the special features include all of these interview scenes and whatnot with Tom Cruise and company and all of the directors and whatnot about how things were done, how people were feeling about them, what was done. He actually, I think, broke his foot in the most recent one during a chase scene, and that's the actual cut that they left in the movie. And so that's like genuine. When he jumps from roof to roof, and he actually hit his foot against the building and not broke it, but twisted it or something. But he gets up and he climbs over back onto the roof, and he starts limping away because he's trying to chase after Henry Cavill's character. And that was actually like legit. That wasn't made up. That was what happened. He jumped the scene. He's we're not doing this again.
Absolutely. I love Cavill in that film. He just rocked it. That fight that they have in the bathroom, like, it's just fucking nuts. Like it. Really quick though, Pincalo says, did you know that after I Spy, Bill Cosby did a stand-up routine in which he admits to drugging women? Spanish Fly, 1969. No, I didn't. I've seen a bunch of Cosby stand-ups, but I'm going to look into that, Pincalo. I'm just curious at this point to see it. That's interesting.
Okay, so this is also one of those generational gap things where, and I don't know, and I've never seen a damn thing with Bill Cosby in it. The only thing that I know about this man is that he creepy. Mm-hmm. That's the extent of my knowledge on Bill Cosby.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I will tell you this. Here's my call on Bill Cosby. So he drugged women to have sex with them, and that is what it is. And you know what I think of it? It's tragic that Cosby went out like that, because the truth is he was an American treasure. He was a true original. His comedy was funny. He's one of the funniest men mentally, like just his comedic mind. He could just tell stories and make them hilarious. I still watch The Cosby Show, the original, and laugh because it's largely sprung from his comedic genius. The man doing stand-up, it's worth watching. The money he put into colleges, the promotions that he did, the fact that he went and got his doctorate in education. He's a well-educated man, a brilliant man. And dude, you ruined it all for Jesus Christ with the fame you had. Why did you have to drug women? The whole thing is just tragic. It's like, I'm not trying to dismiss anything the man did. It's just what a tragic downfall of a piece of Americana like that. It's
See,
awful.
I don't know that it was tragic because I don't remember a time before he was a creep. And I think that's because I was too young
Yeah,
or something. Because how
I
many years has this been out in the public?
oh, like excuse me, like 3 4 years, but apparently it was like people say, and I don't know because it's not like I knew the man. They claimed it was kind of like an open secret, and the claim additionally is also like, yeah, as if it was just the cause. Everyone was doing it back then.
Well,
And
no,
a
okay,
lot,
but
I
like,
mean, the sheer number of women, I'm not trying to discredit anyone's individual story. I'm making a broad claim here. It's that when you have a whole bunch of people that are claiming one thing, and then all of a sudden there's people coming out of the woodwork saying, yeah, me too. And it's like
yeah.
interesting that you never went to the police and you're still not going to the police, even though in some cases, in some states, it's still not past the statute of limitations. You're all getting involved as soon as there's a class action suit against the man. That is sus as fuck.
Well, so no, I'm not talking about like the last 3 years. I'm talking about the last 21 years of my life. I don't remember a time before Cosby wasn't a creep to the
Yeah.
public eye. Like this has got to be going. This has had to have gone on for longer than 3 to 4 years,
Oh
because
God, absolutely. It goes
I
like
remember
Nicole was
that
saying, it
being
goes to
yeah,
back in the
exactly.
day. Some of these claims are like claims from the early 70s and before. So it's like
Yeah.
this guy was a serial person at this. And so, like I said, I'm not trying to discredit anyone's story. And apparently someone said he was really harsh with staff. Yeah, apparently that was part of it as well. I just hearing these things about Dr. Cosby, which is still how I think of him, I just have to shake my head and go, Jesus Christ, man, why?
Waste of talent.
Yeah, just waste. There you go. That's the best word for it. It's none of it was necessary. Fuck you, man. For all the great stuff you were up to and doing, why would you fuck around with this petty shit? Why would you mess with women like that? It just, God damn it. The whole thing's just saddening, man. It's like, why that guy? I mean, the downfall of Cosby to me is far worse than the downfall of Weinstein. Weinstein was just a Holly weird fucker. You know, just he was a financier. That
Yeah, I
was
don't
it.
know
Cosby
anything
is the
about.
downfall of a legend, man. It's sad. That's all.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Weinstein before Me Too was a thing, and now I know only that he is creepy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there's no other way to put it. He's just a creep. He's just a creep, and I've met plenty of creeps in my life. Hmm. Um. All right, so to get this out of the way, Daniel Fullman asked for a kitchen update, and there's
Oh
not like a
yeah.
whole lot to report. We have 2 new roommates in the household. Someone left, and 2 more people are moving in because remember, one of our housemates also left midway through the year last year, and like I took the trash out yesterday because it needed to be taken out, but I've also been using the kitchen more this last week than previously. So yes, it's kind of like my responsibility as well. There are dishes in the sink. They're dirty. They have been there for a while. Maybe half a day away from putting them in the dirty dish box. As of right now, though, things are kind of mellow, which is nice. I'm not going to worry about it quite yet. But, we'll see. We have the rest of the semester to worry about it. I'm more worried about Bonsai. Because, like, if she did have kittens, what happens to those kittens? Are we going to have more cats in this household? And also, who's cleaning that litter box? These are important questions, Polly.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it off the subject there with the spy franchises.
Oh, yes. Okay. So that was like all 4 of the spy franchises that I had on the brain. But then we brought up Henry Cavill, and I want to ask your opinion on Henry Cavill because I grow to like this man with everything that I see him in more and more. So like The Witcher, I saw The Witcher. I loved it. I loved it to death. And I loved Henry Cavill as The Witcher, Geralt of Rivia. So that was nice. I loved it so much that I actually started reading the books. But before that, I also saw him in, obviously, Mission Impossible, most recent one. And then I also had seen him in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which I think absolutely needs a sequel. And I can't remember anything prior to that, aside from Superman, which I don't think he did. I don't think it was his fault that it wasn't good. That his portrayal of Superman wasn't good. I don't think he was given enough decent script to actually do anything with it.
Yeah, Cavill, I've come to like the guy more and more. He's just a lot of fun to watch on film. He's definitely somebody that holds your attention. And I don't know about this part, but like I know women that are just like they're fucking swooning over my man over there. To me, he does embody the kind of beefcake image. Like, I mean, holy shit. It's like the guy's just huge and he's got the square jaw and the cleft chin. It's like, wow, man, you're just kind of the whole thing, aren't you? It's
yes. You understand. There is a man.
Right. It's kind of like, wow, you picked him to play Superman. Good choice. Like,
yes. You could have given him a little bit more dynamic, I guess.
It's when I heard that he wasn't going to be playing Superman anymore, I was like, fuck. Like, it's just, the guy never really got to get running with the character, if you know what I mean. Too many stupid producers in the mix, and Hack Snyder with his weirdo vision of how film should be. The guy who made 300 and then never stopped making it.
A mood. All right, hang on. I see you. I see you, Harry. Thank you. Ooh, am I in frame? I'm kind of in frame. Okay, there we go. Is that better? That's a little bit better. Hang on. All right, that's better. Now I don't have to worry about doing this and this whenever I switch cameras. Anyway, thank you to the Harry channel for the donation. Oh God, I have to burp, but I'm gonna power through. Power through, Weebo. There are also spy stories on TV. Roger Moore in The Saint, Patrick McGohan in, I think I said that right, in Danger Man, Secret Agent, Mission Impossible, both TV and movies. Yes. Okay, I will.
The Harry channel Rick mentioned, I've seen some episodes of The Saint. I'd like to go back and watch the whole thing. Hopefully it kind of holds up. As I understand it, excuse me, that was the thing that got, I mean, that was the credentials for Roger Moore to go on to play Bond. It's like, well, oh shit, here's this obvious choice, you know. But I'd like to see more of it. I haven't seen enough. Oh, The Prisoner, Irate just mentioned. Have you ever heard of or seen The Prisoner?
Nope.
A friend of mine ended up being a big fan of it. I had never heard of it, and he said, we gotta watch this. We ended up watching the whole series in like binge style. It's kind of hard to explain. There's this show's kind of all about mystery and what's not said. There's this British spy that quits his job for an unknown reason, and he's kidnapped and brought to this island where everybody is given a number, and you are not in a prison cell, you're just a prisoner on the island. And the whole reason he's there is to kind of pressure him into explaining why he quit his job. Why did you leave? And he's number whatever, like number 54 or number 76 or whatever it was. It's worth watching. It's a really inventive show considering what a relatively low budget it has. The main character is excellently played. I loved it. All right.
I'll put that on my sticky note. I have so many sticky notes of things that I'm supposed to be watching. All right, so The Prisoner.
The Prisoner, yeah. And it only ran like this one season, but it ends up having this cult following, and like stuff so corny as Rover. It's a white balloon, Weebs. That's all it is a big white balloon. And when you try and escape, Rover comes after you and stops you and attacks you. And somehow they end up, I don't know how, within the context of the show, making Rover very ominous when it's just a big white balloon.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, Polly, you're not boring me. My sleep schedule is still fucked up from Paris.
Fair enough.
I keep finding myself falling asleep at like 10, which I'm not used to. I'm used to falling asleep at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Which is not healthy, but still.
People in chat are also mentioning the stream skipping every now and then, and you, for me, Weebs, are also skipping. I think the internet is just against us tonight. In general,
what the frickety frack, and I am even connected like hardline. How about this? I will refresh and see what that does.
Yeah,
Right?
what happens when you refresh and you're the host?
Nothing really happens.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Did she just get rid of me? Can you see me anymore? I don't know.
I'm back.
Hello.
All right, let's see what this does.
Yeah.
And can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
All right, good. Before we continue on, Pinkalo the Driving Ape Man, thank you for your donation. Book for your reading list: Why We Suck by D. Leary. Was that a euphemism? Was that like a joke? Am I supposed to? Is that an actual book? Why We Suck by D. Leary. I feel like,
as in like Dennis Leary, or as in by. No, I wouldn't have been Timothy Leary. I was thinking by the acid.
No,
guy,
Dennis
Timothy
Leary.
Yeah. Is it?
A feel-good guide to staying fat, lazy, loud, and stupid. Ooh, it comes in Kindle.
Ooh.
Speaking of books on the internet, so I just finished up this trilogy series. Polly, did you get a chance to look at any of it?
Trilogy series?
Yeah, for the channel. I just posted like a 3-part series on the channel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck. That's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I watched all the videos that you timed and posted. Yeah.
Yes. Someone who cares.
Oh, come on. With the views you get.
Oh, what? Like 400?
What?
I don't know if he realizes, but January has not been a good month for Weebo.
Let's look at her face. Look at her face.
I'm not kidding. I'm used to getting at least 1,000 within the first day. And currently, my last video, the one that I uploaded yesterday, is sitting at 389.
Are you listening to this chat? I mean, Weebs is just, she's in like a league like 10 times greater than my channel is. So she's like, I'm used to getting 1,000 views on the first day.
The one from last week is at 480, and the one from the week before is at 680. And it doesn't get better from there.
Well, people see apesies in the title and they don't know what to think. And
it's aspies, not apesies. That's ignorant slut.
That's the joke. People look at the title and they.
Yeah, no, January has not been a good month for Weebo. And I don't think it's a good month for anyone on the internet, to be quite frank.
Actually, your boy Pat says, I feel you, Weebo. You know what? If you're not subbed to your boy Pat, and he's right there, just hit the little 3 button. Go check out his Psycho Rick channel. Criminally undersubbed. No, seriously, I dig the content over there. I watch it and I'm like, man, this guy's putting this effort into his videos and getting these views. The internet sucks.
So sweet. You're so sweet. You didn't take this opportunity to self-shill, and so I'm going to do it for you. Everyone go sub to Polly. His link is in the description down below. Also, his Streamlabs, because Polly needs a new potato.
Yeah, Polly needs a new potato, and just potatoes in general to eat so I don't die. I mean, money's...
Wow, way for to be dramatic there.
But no, things are rough right now, all jokes aside. So, yeah.
The only content getting any attention... The only content getting any attention right now is Star Wars criticisms and Onision drama fodder.
Yeah, man, Onision is just replete, huh?
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
Everyone else has already talked about it. No, you know what? Instead, let's talk mad shit about Chris Hansen.
Well, you know what? Really quick on another note, so that go check out my channel. Did you know while you were away, on a moment of inspiration, I started a new video series, Weaves?
Oh, you started a new video series?
Someone's not watching my channel.
I was in France. The Wi-Fi was shit there.
No, I get it. I'm just joking around. It's called Movies I Barely Remember.
Yes. Wow, really?
Yeah. Is
this inspired by our conversation about Pride and Prejudice, which you actually remembered?
No, because I wouldn't do Pride and Prejudice as one of the movies I barely remember. Because
no, I know, because we had that discussion that you remembered it, but usually you don't if you don't like the film, and so
exactly
that's why I thought that maybe that conversation.
Do you remember me telling the story of me and my friends sitting in the theater for Independence Day Resurgence?
Yes, I do remember that.
I tell that story at the beginning of the video, and that's the first movie that I did was Independence Day Resurgence, because the credits rolled. He turned to me and said, I don't remember anything that just happened in that film. And I'm like, no shit. Like, I thought for a second, and my God, neither do I. And so the point of they're all really short videos. I mean, I think I only made it to 5 minutes, including the story of the inspiration of why it started. It's just
Okay.
me rambling, trying to remember the few things that I can, and the comments they're killing me, man. I love the comments under that video. They're all like, "Hey, man, I remember nothing but that. You remember more than I do, man." Like and shit like that. So my next one is going to be. I've recorded a couple others, but I got to get around to finishing the editing, especially with trying to not get copyright claimed, which I did for the first one. Fox Studios copyright claimed that because the trailer is playing in the background, even though it's cut up a little bit and in black and white and there's no audio. I still
What
got copyright claimed
bastards.
for it. So I'm going to have to take it
Rat.
to the next level, distort it more. And I've gotten some good suggestions from people how to do that. So I'm going to do that. But I'm doing Last Jedi, even though I've seen it twice. I saw it in the theater and I saw it over at my friend's house, and I can still barely remember that film. It's that bad.
Is that the second one in the most recent trilogy?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What was the first one called?
Force Awakens.
Gotcha. The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Balik and I are going to watch The Rise of Skywalker together, but we're going to do it shit-faced. Because we've heard no good things about it. And
Fair enough.
that means that you watch the movie anyway, but you do it with friends and drunk AF. Balik is another one of those people that I can watch a movie with and not have it be a problem because he doesn't care if I talk. Because he's just as talkative about it.
I don't get the idea of sitting in absolute silence. What's the point in like you might as well watch movies with your invisible friend. It'll be the same effect.
Why not watch a movie by yourself? That's exactly why I would only watch a movie and not talk, as if it were just me. Even then, I will talk mad shit about a movie. Okay, all right. Do you remember a few years ago, or a year ago? I think it was like a year ago, around now, where they came out with a movie. It was called After, and had this like stupid ass Selena Gomez song to kind of enthuse the watcher. Like, oh, it was a coming of age college romance story of a good girl and a bad boy, and it was based off of Harry Styles fan fiction.
Okay.
You probably remember it if I sent you the actual trailer because it was all over the fucking place. And I watched it by myself. And I've never been more belligerent in my life, Polly. Ever in my life watching that movie. My notes, they're somewhere, but they're vicious. I meant to film an actual criticism of that movie. I never got around to it because I didn't want to relive that experience. It was so bad.
The bellicosity that it
It was so bad.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go get another coffee. Like you, I am beginning to yawn, and that's not good.
I'm sorry, it's contagious.
No,
I'll
it's
stop.
fine. I'm gonna just go top up my coffee. I'll be right back.
All right. Pinkalo asked or said, I think Weebo thinks I recommended that book as an insult. No, it wasn't necessarily an insult. I thought it was a joke for whatever reason, because we'd just gotten done talking about euphemistic names, Pussy Galore and other James Bond female love interests that I can't remember the names of because one beer is enough for Weebo. And so when you sent in the super chat with why we suck Deliria, I thought that was a play on words. I was trying to figure out what the joke was. And apparently it wasn't a joke. It's legit. It's been a long week, guys. All right, Weebo is less Weebo today. But that's fine. We're having a good time anyway. Why are we talking about Paul Walker? Oh, famous people need to stay out of small planes and helicopters. Yes, Kobe Bryant is dead now. R.I.P. in peace, Kobe Bryant. Before today, I knew only 3 things about Kobe. Actually, 2 things. 1, that he was a basketball player, and 2, that there was this weird Kobe thing that was a thing. That I guess it was... I don't actually know what the Kobe thing is. I just know that it is a thing. And then today, I learned 5 new facts, and I will list them all for you. The next one is that he had a 13-year-old daughter. had being past tense because both he and his daughter passed, which is two more facts. The third one is that he was a good basketball player. And the fourth one was he died in a helicopter accident. So, yeah. Fat Pepe rip. It is unfortunate, though. Especially the 13-year-old daughter. Because that's so young to die. And I don't want this episode of Cocktail Hour to become like super bummerish, but that is way too young to die. That's I think sad to say, but that's I think the most that's the most tragic part of what has come out today about that. Is that the world lost young potential. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. What else can we say? And we're still talking about that. That's okay. I could pull something out of my ass. Someone sent me something over on the Discord. I kind of want to see what it is. Speaking of the Discord, there's a link to the Discord down in the description down below. Y'all should check it out. Really, it's legit. We do movie nights and game nights there sometimes. Whenever it is that I have the time and you guys feel like it. And those are always a good time. Before I left for Paris, like the night before I left for Paris, I think Yolander and me, we watched Airplane. That was my first time watching Airplane, which is a really good movie. I'm not going to lie. It was great, but not probably the best movie to watch right before you get on a plane to go on an 8-hour flight to a different country. Definitely not the best idea. Oh, and I do recall that there was something that was sent to me in the Discord. Sanguine told me that my Spurg videos are a trip, and with a dude's definition, despite diagnosis, I was apparently not a Spurg to him, especially with the addition of Spurgs are quieter. Apparently, okay. Yeah, so I just came out with that trilogy, right? Rise of the Planet of the Aspies. And it was difficult to get through. The initial viewing of the video itself was a trip, and that was what made me want to dive into it. But upon further inspection, when I actually got to the meat and potatoes of the actual video and I started breaking down the guy's points individually, I very quickly realized that it was just 19 straight minutes of drivel and just off the top of your head nonsense that went on and on and on and on. At one point, the guy starts talking about his freaking walls and his clothing, and no one gives a shit. You can tell this guy's not working off a script because no one who scripts anything is ever going to be that inconcise with their points, right? I script things, and you get tired of writing after a while, which is why we like to keep things a little bit shorter than 3,000 freaking words.
Daniel Fullman, I don't think I'll ever be over Macho Grande, and it's a big building with sick people in it. But that's not important right now. Weebs is telling a story. Let's go on.
Oh, I'm talking about my most recent video series.
I'm just referencing I come back and I look at the screen and I see Daniel Fullman says over Macho Grande. Zucker Abrams, greatest writing comedy team ever.
Well, I just talked about watching Airplane for the first time. With the fans in the Discord, because that was a great time. But I had done it right before I went off to Paris. Right before my 8-hour flight to go to a foreign country. Probably not the best time to do that. Just like watching the Titanic before you get on a cruise ship is probably not the brightest idea.
Well, watching Airplane, incredible comedy before you go to a country where they think that, what's his name?
Hate on the France or the French.
They've got a horrible sense of humor over there. With what's his name? Jerry Lewis, they think is like the king of comedy. I mean, my God, these are people.
I do not even know who that is.
Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis.
Because in the team of Martin and Lewis.
Mm-mm. You were talking to uncultured swine. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the guy from the original Nutty Professor. No. Okay.
I'm a youngin', remember?
Hey, Weebs, this was long before my time.
Yeah, I'm a very youngin. Does that not excuse me? Does my age not get me out of shit?
No, no, you's just ignorant.
Wow. I go from don't you ever talk smack about yourself, girl. You can talk during movies, and don't you call yourself uncultured. The French are just stuck up nose bitches. To you just ignorant. Wow. Wow. No one can insult me except Polly, guys. All right. He's just claimed that title.
It's a privilege I reserve for myself. As a straight white cis male, I have all the privilege, and that's one of them.
Well, that is quite a privilege, sir.
Have you? So, what? Do you know what an automaton is?
No.
Far got herself an automaton, and it's
that doesn't help me.
I don't know how to describe this thing. It's like,
what does it do?
It makes things that are referred to as musical notes, but I don't agree that it's a musical instrument. It looks like a big. I don't. Hold on here. Look, I'll just share my screen. I got a picture of one. Or if you're looking it up, okay, there you go. You'll see it. It's shaped like a big musical note, and you squeeze the side of its face at the bottom, and its mouth opens, and that's how you make it play notes. And you slide your hand up and down the stick of it, and that changes the tone of the note that it's putting out.
I'm seeing robots.
Well, here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you see it?
Does it have a face?
Yes, it does have a face. That you squeeze the size of the face, and the mouth opens, right?
Oh, that's weird.
And it makes wah, 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 as you move your hand up and down the thing.
Oh, that's
and so you can look it up on YouTube. People have done like covers of famous songs played with automatons.
Oh, I spelled it wrong. That's why.
It's an incredibly weebish thing. Like not weebs you, but weebs.
Oh, yeah.
Japanese
no, my grandma.
thing.
Weeb's my grandma.
Your grandma's into hentai?
No, she's into Asian culture, specifically with attention to the Japanese. She lived there for like a whole year. She does not shut up about that.
Weeaboo.
She's a weeb. Speaking of shenanigans, that has nothing to do with shenanigans. Thanking the next 6 minutes for your donation. Welcome back, weebs. Glad you weren't indoctrinated into the caliphate and whatnot. Hope you like the movie. Help Polly out getting a new potato. High fives and fist bumps, bruh. Yes, help Polly get a new potato. Do it. Do it now.
And potatoes in general, so I don't starve to death.
Exactly. And potatoes in general. Oh, speaking of movies you shouldn't watch before you do a thing.
Okay.
Throwback to our original conversation before you distracted me with this musical note with a face that makes noises and scary facial expressions. I was instructed by like 3 people before leaving to go to Paris that I should watch one very particular movie. Polly, can you guess what that was?
Specifically because you were headed to Paris?
Yes. Specifically because I am a 21-year-old college student, female person, going to Paris. Does that narrow it down for you?
No. I'm curious. What is it?
If I say the name Liam Neeson, will you get it?
Oh, Taken.
Yes, there you go. You want to know who told me to watch that movie?
Somebody that was hoping to scare the hell out of you to stay away from Middle Eastern bearded men?
I'll give you 3 guesses.
Your boyfriend?
No.
Your mother?
No.
Your father?
Yes.
Good on you, Papa Weebs. That's a smart man. I like it.
Yeah. And he told me to watch that movie before I went off to Greece, too. He tells me to watch that movie every time I'm about to leave the country. I'm pretty sure he will do that in the future.
I like your dad. Seems like a grounded, based man who gets how the world
My
works.
dad's grounded and based. He doesn't understand what memes are.
That doesn't mean he's not based.
What is it? Wait, define it for me, please.
Well, I don't know if I can offer you a bi-Hoyle definition of based, but
all right, so we'll look it up on Urban Dictionary.
If he's telling the pretty 21-year-old girl that's going to France to watch Taken, that's he's exuding basedness by doing so.
That's fair. Did they switch up Urban Dictionary? The fuck? Oh no, it's just the website is not working for me. That happens sometimes.
Pincalo asked if that was my first time streaming with Undoomed yesterday over on Blind Press's channel for the Star Trek stream, and yes, it was. It's the first time I've ever been on a stream with him that I can recall. I actually didn't know that he was a Star Trek fan. That's pretty awesome.
All right. This is going to be funny. So, according to dictionary.com, based is a slang term that originally meant to be addicted to crack cocaine or acting like you were, which is not the case. Papa Jones is not addicted to crack cocaine. But, thank you, was reclaimed by rapper Lil B for being yourself and not caring what others think of you, to carry yourself with swagger. I don't know if I would use the word swagger in the same sentence as Papa Jones.
That is Urban Dictionary. Based is like
no. This is dictionary.com.
Oh well, fuck them too. Well, at least go to Merriam-Webster or something with a little credibility.
Oh, okay. Sorry, let me look up Merriam-Webster's.
Well, okay, we laugh like, oh, is based gonna be Merriam-Webster? Well, you know what else is there? Fucking bootylicious. I mean,
okay, yes, but isn't there? Am I using this word right? A higher pedigree for getting into Merriam-Webster. Did I use that word right?
Is there a higher what?
Isn't there like a higher pedigree for getting into Merriam-Webster?
Yeah, but they've gone full woke, actually. Like they're including stuff that just I don't even want to get into it. The next 6 minutes, thank you very much for the donation. Potato. Give to Polly and help him get that new potato. Potato. Bro hugs. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
It's not here.
No,
it says, well, there are two entries. Having a specific type of base or basis, past tense, and past participle of base entry 2. Let's go to base entry 2.
Yeah, I mean, conspiracy occult, Illuminati, etc. is based as a term used, for people that are hip to race realism. Yeah, and it's used by people that are using it to reference, are you hip to the JQ, etc. But whatever. It's in the meaning that it's base is a general term. It's like are you understanding the underlying reality of things? Like, are you red pilled, or do you
yes, my dad is.
The superficial tripe that people are fed, like, it's so you're watching CNN, and it's like they're constantly reporting on Donald Trump because he's awful and he's a tyrant, and it's like a based response would be like, no, CNN is doing that to, Donald Trump's kind of a scummy guy, but he's not any of the things that they're saying. They're doing that for views and ideology. That would be like a based analysis of it. You're based in reality. Is the idea. And yeah, there's a lot of alt-right 1488ers out there that use it to reference the JQ and other dumb shit, but
Didn't that one YouTuber based mama use it? And I don't think she counts as alt-right, does she?
Who counts as alt-right?
No, I don't think that based mama ever counted as alt-right.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell she counted as. I lost the plot with her, man. She started out one way, and then the whole free speech con, and the oh man, I lost the plot on that story and ended up not.
The last couple of years on YouTube were interesting.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It was a fucking wild ride.
It was pretty wild. Oof. Thinking about it just gives me like weird brain function. No, but okay, so I would. My dad is so based that he watches Fox News nightly and listens to Rush Limbaugh. He's even got the magazine subscription. So there. Ha.
Rush Limbaugh has a magazine?
Yeah, he does. We get it delivered to the house every month. It's in our bathroom.
Wow.
The first floor bathroom.
Yeah. The Rush Limbaughs of the world, and what's the guy from Fox News? He has a
Tucker Carlson. The facial expression guy?
No. The other guy has been doing it forever. He's got a hugely popular radio show, and he's like the furthest thing from a journalist.
Brett Baer.
His name?
Brett
No.
Baer?
No.
Not Brett?
No.
He's the only other person I know that works at Fox.
That's fine. Sean Hannity, thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, Sean Hannity. I mean, him, Don Lemon, Rachel Maddow, they're all in the same category, but nobody's as far gone as Sean Hannity. What a blustering fucking windbag that guy is. Those people just fit the essence of news entertainers. It's like, you're not doing news. You're just blah, 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 blah. You know, goddamn liberals, goddamn conservatives. Fuck all of you.
My dad has told me on more than one occasion that I should listen more to Fox News and to Rush Limbaugh. Specifically Rush Limbaugh, because he's a very smart guy on a lot of things. To the point where, like, okay, so we've gotten into disagreements about things over the stupidest of nonsense. I was pitching my Thanksgiving video to him one day, right? And I was trying to make a point about how the Thanksgiving has been so muddled over the years or whatnot. I was talking about, oh, this is actually the true origin of Thanksgiving, yada, yada, yada. And then he goes and he's like, he whips out
rooted in slavery and racism. Yeah, right.
No. He whips out his phone. He's like, actually, the way that they teach you Thanksgiving nowadays in school with like genocide and whatnot is completely wrong. Here, listen to this podcast by Rush Limbaugh. We're going to listen to it in silence at the kitchen table. And I'm just like, Dad, I get it. All right. That's what I'm explaining to you is my research into this topic and how like in depth it is. And I'm trying to explain it to him. He's like, no. Rush. I'm like, but yeah, no, every once in a while I'll try and talk to my dad about my YouTube channel and stuff. And he'll come up with a Rush related topic that is kind of parallel, but it'll completely derail the conversation. And I cannot for the life of me get into watching Rush or listening to him because his voice is just so on my ears.
Yeah, well, there's the thing. Like, I do politics for a fucking living. I don't need somebody like those guys stirring up fucking emotion for me in terms of what to think and what not to think. Because they're not offering news. There's no new information that comes in. What they offer is, get this,
opinion.
Analysis. Like, oh, fuck.
Ooh. Like, at least I try to make it a little bit more fun. I try to grab things that people might not know a whole bunch about, like Rise of the Planet of the Aspies. That was kind of a fresh hot take. That's a little bit new. You don't get a lot of people who think that people on the spectrum are a superior race to those who are not, or a superior species, actually, to those who are not. Very often. And so that was kind of a golden nugget. So thank you. I can't remember for the life of me who gave that to me, but thank you so much.
So yeah, let me ask you a question, Weebs. You were over there in France.
Surrenderland, yes.
Surrenderland, yeah. Yes. Did you eat anything that was patently American when you were over? Like, did you go to a McDonald's?
Twice.
Did you? Okay, was it the same? Like, or... Yeah. Was there a regional difference? I'm curious.
They sell macaroons in their McDonald's.
Really?
Like there was a whole ass cafe section dedicated to like the frozen drinks and the baked goods and whatnot, which I thought was cool. And I was half tempted to go back to the register and order a carrot cake, but it was already too much of a hassle to even bother with, so I didn't bother with it.
Do they actually call it Le Big Mac?
I ordered it in English. They had these little kiosk things. Like they've completely done away with registers sans one, and that's for people who can't get their freaking cards to work or want to pay in cash.
Right.
And it's just, it goes really smoothly and whatnot.
So
and then they call it a number.
Royale with cheese, was it there?
I got the McDouble.
The McDouble, yeah. I like the McDouble too.
And then I tried to order some fries at the kiosk, but the kiosk fucked up and gave me a fish fillet instead, and so I was super pissed about that. Like, what am I going to do with a fish fillet? I ate it on the train, but, you know, still. So you don't waste food. It's expensive over there, Polly. All right? It is expensive. It was bad. I'm a little bit irritated, actually, at that. Because I used more money than I wanted to over there. So the coffers be a little bit dry. And I don't start work back up. Or at least I'm not scheduled to work yet at the Starbucks until next week, I think. So until then, I will be eating leftovers in the fridge and meal plan stuff. And flex dollars. Definitely using those. Which is okay. I'm down. I like that. I am frugal. But yes, I went to McDonald's twice. It was an experience.
I was just wondering if the if things ended up being different at all.
Well, aside from the plethora of kiosks, you can tell that automation is in. Person-on-person contact is out when it comes to fast food restaurants. I did not make it into a Starbucks, however, which I am sorry about. I need to experience a Starbucks in France, apparently. Wash your hands after using one of those. What are we talking about, Flatjacks? Also, Polly, are you there?
Yes.
Are you distracted?
Yes, I am. I just saw that Pincalo said that seeing how white male rage is trending, and I was like, why?
Ooh.
Like why this time? And I went and looked it up, and I'm gathering as best I can.
Did someone shoot up another school?
No, Saturday Night Live, I guess, it's like, we're really bitter that Joker got a bunch of nominations because we were all praying that some kind of theater shooting or whatever would be the rise of the incels around Joker. We shot our mouths off endlessly about this happening until the point where, you know, people were pressuring police and the National Guard to do something about it because news entertainers are blood-sucking fucking vultures and live and thrive off of people's anxieties in this way, literally get paid for stirring up people's anxieties in this way. And so they, all of this anger and concern is built up around this movie. It ends up doing very well. Nothing happens. There are no shootings or any other fuckery of that sort because it was all a concoction of these blood-sucking fucking vultures and the angry 4% on Twitter who just needed a target most recently. And of course, what better target than straight white cis males because it's not like Twitter's going to strike you down for hate speech. The only group you can still attack and get away with it. You racist, sexist fucks complaining about fucking equality the whole fucking time while being racist and sexist. The irony eludes them because they get to redefine racism and sexism that applies to everybody but them when they're being racist and sexist. And then anyway, Saturday Night Live, those bitter bastards do a fucking joke about it because that's SJW, full air quotes here, Comedy Central. And it's like the theme for this year, white male rage. And all of the fucking angry 4% on Twitter comes out and starts talking about, white men are the blah, 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 blah. And everybody a blue check mark with a pride flag next to their name. Fuck off, sewer inhabitants.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the chat. They are loving this.
Well, it's just
Chubby.
The predictable perfunctory dance of it all. It's got all of the fucking, it's got all of the originality and unexpectedness of a fucking square dance. You move in this particular way and do this thing. That's fucking Twitter. It's like the fucking meme of the stick figure poking the all of the news logos saying, come on, do an outrage. Yeah, it's been almost 48 hours. What's your outrage? I'm sure it relates to Trump or white males somehow. Fuck off.
All right, so what I'm gathering from you, Polly, is that you would like their rage to be directed at something a little bit more original. All right, let's take requests or proposals from the chat on what could be more original than white cis heterosexuality and maleness. I'm gonna go with right-handedness because I haven't heard that one yet.
They've dominated us for too long.
Exactly. There you go.
What is it, like 20% or whatever of people are left-handed? Yeah, the poor lefty minorities. They've
because
been marginalized.
I've already done the red-headedness too many times. Obviously.
Are you left-handed, Weeps?
No, I'm right-handed.
Ah, you're part of the
But
oppressor class. I see.
I will be a left-hand ally. I can get behind that.
That's pretty good, actually. Left-handed. I mean, that the joke we're cracking right now is the origin of Kekistan. Remember, it's like let's just make up a country and claim that it's real for oppression points to mock the whole idea of I'm part of this marginalized thing. Have you noticed how the oppressor class gets smaller and smaller and smaller to apparently one street in England where the straightest, whitest, malest people of all oppress everybody else on earth? Fuck.
Goddamn colonists.
Yeah.
Who live in England. You're right though. You're right. It's gotten rather specific. So let's add right-handedness to that very specific.
That's actually a good call. Right-handed, straight, cis white males. Motherfuckers.
Right-handed, otherwise, no. No. Because
Yes.
remember, they used to execute left-handeds for being demon spawn, Polly. Used to. They don't do it anymore. But you know what? That pain and that suffering, it carries. It carries through the ages, and it has oppressed the lefties for too long.
The intergenerational PTSD of left-handed scorn must come to an end.
Have you ever experienced writing with your left hand, Polly? Do you know how much dirt and pencil grime you get on that nonsense? You go home every day and you have to wash your hands, which is not what everyone else has to do. They can live their lives graphite free.
You know, that's not true. You can go ahead and learn Arabic or Hebrew and write right to left if you'd like.
Polly, I'm not asking you to make decent points. I'm asking you to agree. All right? Anyway, have you ever tried to cut scissors? Cut with scissors? They're all right-handed. It's an ableist.
Or have to use a standard transmission? Did you ever see the meme that just showed? It was just a picture of a standard transmission gear shift, and it said "millennial theft prevention device." Okay, I'm a millennial, and that's pretty fucking funny. It kills me when people do not know how to drive a standard transmission. It's like, really? What the hell?
No, I actually don't know what you're talking about. Standard transmission, is that like the difference between
like a stick shift,
gear shift on the wheel versus gear shift down by the
console? Yeah, you know, it's like got a stick, and you go first, second, third. It's got a clutch. You know,
I can do both.
There you go.
I have done both actually. One car that I drive half the year has the clutch aspect to it. The other is the wheel thingy. I actually didn't know that they had names.
Well, yeah, or manual transmission, or just all manual, as Duck Dog says. Yeah. Because you got to do it yourself. This is automatic, everything done for you. Goddamn coddled generation.
I don't know what you're talking about. Speaking of things that have nothing to do with what it is we're talking about, thank you the next 6 minutes who donated to say, well, hell, Weebs, here's a couple more greenbacks for your coffers. Greenbacks? Is that an actual way that you say money? I did not know that. Get some sketchy and don't starve. Oh, get some sketty and don't starve, as in skibbetti.
Yes, as in skibbetti. You're right. Yes. You've never heard of money referred to as a greenback?
No, I've not. I'm trying to remember how to say skibbetti. Spaghetti! There we go.
Spaghettini! It's fine. We'll name the slightly smaller diameter one.
No, okay. The reason why I had such a hard time with that, is because my cousin used to say scabetti instead of spaghetti. So for a while there, it was exclusively referred to in the household as scabetti.
You know, something that came up. You know, like Ranting Monkey, right? He
Yeah.
We'll be reading, and you'll get caught up on certain words. I'm
Mhm.
trying to remember what the one yesterday was. It was one of those multi-syllabic words that's got the same sound over and over again. And it's easy to get tripped up on them, and I understand that. But
Yeah.
it got me thinking, and I the show ended like shortly thereafter, so there was no time to bring it up. Is there a word other than like spaghetti is an example that you just brought up that you continually trip up over? It's just something about the sound of the word you've got a hard time with?
Ooh. Yes, but for the life of me, I like can't think of it. But it's in a script that I just wrote for a video that I did yesterday night. The name of the video is what would you do for Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship?
Nice, I like it. For Pink Hollow, it's specific. I could see that. It's specific. It's
I think it was. Ooh, it was okay. So I got tripped up on a few words during this thing. Sponsorship, because I wanted to say sponsorship, and just nix the
right.
H. Sponsorship, and then instead of general marketability, I wanted to say generable marketability. And I don't know why I kept doing that, but I kept doing that the whole time I'm trying to do this. So I just left in the bloopers in the video because the whole video is a shitpost anyway. So it's fine. I'm not going to super mind it.
Oh, Far's in chat. Hey, Far.
So frustrating. Sponsor shit. There you go.
So I remember attending an academic conference with a person presenting. Why would you include a word that you have to say repeatedly in your own presentation that you know you have difficulty with and have to say it over and over again and stumble over it? Epidemiological was the word.
What?
Epidemiological.
Epidemiological. That's not that hard.
Yeah, he kept referring to the epidemiological consequences.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's a pretty jumpy word. Like epidemiological. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But why did you pick something else? And I remember we're sitting at the various tables we were in the room, and I just kept looking at the other people like, I don't think this guy's stupid, except for the fact that he picked a word he knew he couldn't say. And then kept repeating it over and over again.
Well, sometimes it's not even like a word that you normally have trouble saying. It's at that present moment you were speaking, and it's just something that trips you up. So that's the case with me. I don't actually normally have trouble saying a lot of words. It's when I'm saying a lot of words in a script-like fashion that they don't come out always correct.
Right.
And so I have to stop, start again. And I don't always catch it either. That's the thing, too.
Next 6 minutes says cinnamon was the one that always used to trip me up. Okay, I got a funny story about that. So I'm with my ex-girlfriend, we're in her kitchen, and I'm making French toast. And I said, can you pass the cinnamon? And she goes, what? Wait, what? And I said, she goes, you mean the cinnamon? And I said, Sheminicin. That's what I said. She actually put her hands to both sides of her head and walked on the room. You're driving me crazy. It was,
I think I have heard this story before.
It was great. And I always remember the way that I said cinnamon and Sheminicin. You just keep saying that instead of cinnamon, and watch people trip up trying to say cinnamon after you fucked with them like that. It's great.
You're the worst. I hope you realize that you are the worst.
Yep. And for me, okay, the guy who administers the sedative before surgery is an anesthesiologist. I have no problem with that word. But if you're administering a sedative to someone, you are anesthetizing them. I don't know why that word, still to the day, anesthetizing them. I have to.
Anesthetizing.
I don't know. It's got too many THs and S's too close together, and I got all fucked up on it.
Yeah, no, I don't like this. Stop it. I don't like this game.
The other one is the denomination of Christianity, Seventh Day Adventists.
Oh,
I have
try saying
to
that one
really
like
slow down to
that.
say it.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
Adventists. They're real
As in,
slow and I can get it.
anesthetizing.
Is this like the time that I started telling you about those 1970s commercials where everyone was itching their scalp and you suddenly had itchy scalp?
No.
You feel a little tingle on your scalp there?
No, I
Do
don't
you?
feel a little tingle in my stomach. I just put it
You
back up
sure? You're
because
not feeling a desire to scratch a little part of your scalp?
no.
No?
Stop it.
I remember Far and I were watching late night commercials and came across another one of those commercials. Chat, they always ran the same way of it's a guy, you would hear his internal monologue of what he was thinking inside his head. It's like, wow, that woman's really attractive. And then she would lean up and scratch her head. And he's like, oh, but she has dandruff. And he would turn around and walk away. And it's like, so use Head and Shoulders. There were Head and Shoulders ads. And when we came across one, I clipped it and tweeted it at Weebs. And I just got cease in all capital letters.
People joke about how psychology is a useless science, but really it's actually the best science because you get to fuck with people that way.
Yeah.
True.
It was like that line from the Phantom editor who re-edited both The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, arguing that they're not bad films in and of themselves. They just suffer from George Lucas not remembering what he did as a great editor. That like he learned a lot of stuff, this editor said, from watching George Lucas's films, and it's kind of like he himself forgot those things. The commentary he does over those films is fascinating because he talks a lot about film editing and stuff and priming and how it works, how to set up a scene and so forth. So I guess his point is like it's like how you can prime someone to mess with them. When you're editing, you're not supposed to be messing with someone. You're supposed to be helping them along in the process of the storytelling. Think about it this way. You know, if you clear your mind and you listen to me talk, I say, silk, silk, silk. What does a cow drink?
Milk.
No, cows drink water.
Fuck!
See the priming? It's
oh, I can't believe I fell for that.
Well, it's not falling. Like, if you know what I mean, like it's not proof that you're dumb. It's just that's how priming works. You know, and it was a great point that he made, and that really stuck out to me because in my head I said right away, milk. Because
God fucking damn it.
He goes on a time, goes, think about if you have just clips from a scene. You've got a baby, and you've got a person, and a shot of the person frowning, and a shot of that same person smiling. So here's your 3 clips. If you can make the person evil, or you can make them good-hearted, just by your editing. You show the person smiling, and then the shot of the baby, that the person's looking at the baby, and now the person's frowning. That's going to set off psychologically. A smiling baby makes this person frown. There's something wrong with them. Whereas compared to the person's frowning, they look at the baby, and then they're smiling. This person's good-hearted.
Huh.
It's just by rearranging those clips, and I'm like, this is really interesting. I really got caught up in that guy's commentary. It was fascinating.
Send that to me because I'm interested in that kind of nonsense. I am.
And frankly, they did end up being better movies. It wasn't just... When I had first heard of those edits, the Phantom edits, I thought it was going to be about what people were claiming. Just removing a lot of the kid and removing a lot of Jar Jar Binks, the obnoxious things. It's so much more than that. It's reorganizing the scenes and putting them in a different order, starting them sooner and later, etc. And it makes it a much better, faster paced, more engrossing story the way he edits them.
We still get pod racing though, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's important.
Did you dig the pod racing?
Oh, yeah. I like pod racing. What?
Nothing. Great special effects on them. The kid cheering and the lead up to the story, like
that was a little bit cringy.
Yeah, like Qui-Gon Jinn's whole betting. I'm gonna bet on the kid and his mother, and our
I
ship
will
is
bet my ship on
yeah.
this kid's ability to succeed in a dangerous ass pod race. Yeah, no, that made no sense.
Yeah.
And I'm only gonna get one of them out of sleep. You a fucking Jedi, man! Just lightsaber some bitch. Just stabby stab. That's fine.
Daniel Fulman says, what was the saying that once you show a gun, you have to use it in the movie? A Chekhov's gun. That if
Ooh.
a scene, I forget the exact saying, that if a gun's seen on the mantle in the first scene, it must be used by the third or something along those lines. Meaning, do not leave hanging loose ends. Do not introduce things that don't have a payoff because it's just, what the hell?
I'm a big fan of that mentality, and I use it in my creativity. Not necessarily the channel, not as actively necessarily, but I am working on a book wherein that is a theme, a running theme.
Storylines that have no fruition to them?
No, storylines that are okay, so the resolution is introduced like really early on in the whole storyline, or the way that it's resolved is introduced in the storyline super early, but it doesn't get resolved until years down the road in the story itself with the resolution itself.
You know, that sort of idea that the audience is in on it the whole way, and it's the way that it unfolds, I think that that is a lost art of storytelling. It's the way every Shakespearean tragedy works. Everybody knows that Macbeth is going to go down. Every tragedy of Shakespeare has the same thing. There's a central personality flaw that the protagonist has, and it's that personality flaw that ultimately ends up bringing them down. Everybody watching Julius Caesar, not just from history, but they can tell that the betrayal is going to happen, that Caesar is going to die. Caesar's the one who can't tell. In Othello, everyone can tell that Iago is going to bring him down, and everyone knows that it's Othello's black and white view of the world, that personality flaw, that's ultimately going to be what brings him down. It's watching how it unfolds that's the interest. You can let the cat out of the bag in the first scene as long as you tell the story interestingly as to how it all comes together.
I don't know. I think I like it a lot more subtle than that. I like it to the point where you introduce the very thing, but if only that person, the audience themselves, would put it together in their own mind, they would get it. But unless they didn't, then they wouldn't until the very end. You know, like you introduce Chekhov's gun, the item that is going to solve all the problems, because you've created this impossible situation that doesn't get solved without this thing, but it's so subtle that you don't realize it until boom, it's been used. That's what happened.
Okay.
That's how it ends.
You know, I can tell that I'm like a really weird kind of nerd, because whenever I hear anyone reference Chekhov's gun, the only thing that comes to mind is Lieutenant Chekhov from Star Trek in the episode where they're transported to the Old West and he's Billy Claiborne with a 6-gun.
I'm
Chekhov's
such a fucking
gun.
nerd.
Fine. Pete says, you look really great with your hair like that, Weebo. It really suits you. I agree.
Thank you.
And also, it kind of annoys me, like the kind of like, so women have like, so you've got like long, just beautiful blonde mane like Weebo has, right? She can put it up in a ponytail of 7 different kinds, and she can do dangling tendrils and sweeps and all sorts of stuff. When you got a guy's hair, it doesn't work like that. But this is what made me think of this. Yesterday, I walked by the mirror and I realized I had an unintentional Superman spit curl that had somehow accidentally happened. I dug it, and I'm thinking, I'm kind of like looking at myself in the mirror, and it's like, I could rock the Superman spit curl. Look at this. This suits me. This is one of the few options a man has for stylization.
I don't know. I think I could cosplay Qui-Gon very well.
You could cosplay Qui-Gon?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, you could. Now that I'm looking at it, yeah, you totally could. Right, with the way he did. Yeah.
I always thought that I could with this specific hairstyle. And you know what? I think I will some year. It'll be hilarious. Because he was always, for whatever reason, I loved his character as a kid. And I think it was because it was Liam Neeson. And I trust Liam Neeson. I inherently trust that man. He's like a father figure to me. Maybe it was taken. I don't know.
What is it with Liam Neeson and this sort of whiff of sexual father figureness to young women? What is that guy's story?
No. I don't have like a sexual thing for Liam Neeson.
I said whiff.
No, there's nothing sexual about this. I want that man to be a mentor in my life. I was about to say father figure, and I'm like, nope. That just opens the door to weird shit. No, a mentor type person. Like, I want him to be my Jedi mentor. Even though I didn't see him actually mentor very well in the Phantom Menace.
No, there were a few smattering scenes of him speaking in a mentorish type way to Obi-Wan, and it left me just more of that. What? Fuck. You know, because then the scene
I didn't get enough of that.
Yeah, like you get all sorts. Like Yoda has the status that he has because there's a number of great scenes of instructorship that go on, and they're extremely memorable and so cool. And Qui-Gon doesn't really get those, and it was kind of like, if we were supposed to see him as Master Qui-Gon, then let him be Master Qui-Gon.
I need more of that.
Yeah,
so much more of that. And then we get, so like the two types of mentors that I really like, the Qui-Gon version, right?
Uh-huh.
And then also the Obi-Wan version, who you can have fun with. And I'm talking about Ewan McGregor's version, because I also enjoyed him in that movie as well. The prequels were a fun series, guys. All right, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed them, even though they're shit.
There's a lot to like there. It's, especially if you see the Disney ones, you realize there's a lot more to sink your teeth into in the prequel trilogy than a lot of people originally thought. So if you want to see vapid and bad, look at the Disney films. You know, it's, whew.
They're fun movies. They're not like fantastic. They're not epic cinematic masterpieces, but they are fun to watch, I think. And they're fun to make fun of too. There's that.
Yeah.
You can watch that with friends and have a laugh over.
Yeah, next 6 minutes is like, you haven't seen my hair. Yeah, I actually have seen your hair. I've seen you on camera a number of times with different haircuts.
Ooh. Ooh.
I love how Dan Fulman says, Harry Cavill, full circle conversation. Yeah, right back to the Superman spit curl.
Exactly.
I don't know. I should date a hairstylist and see what she can do with different things. I'm very unimaginative when it comes to my hair. It's like the straight pushback thing. To me, there's few people that said in chat, like, it's like, I thought you were Bruce Wayne, not Clark Kent. And it's like, yeah, I hear you there, but I can't do shit. Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne. Fuck, he did a great Bruce Wayne. I really dug him as Bruce Wayne. And thank you again, Hack Snyder. Never let the guy really sink into it. I wanted to see the Batman film starring and directed by Ben Affleck. Like, the guy, in my opinion, has proven his chops. He's a quality director and a quality producer.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And he loved the character of Batman, and I thought he was the best thing about Batman v Superman, the Bruce Wayne parts of the story.
I don't think
older, grizzled Frank Miller style Bruce Wayne. I dug it.
I don't like the way that Batman was characterized in that movie. In those movies.
What part?
The
like, what aspect kind of jumps to mind, you know?
The branding stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I felt... So I like my Batman dark. But not... It's hard to explain. But the litmus test that I use for a Batman is, can you picture this Batman comforting a traumatized child? Okay. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's what Batman is to me, right? Batman's characterization, for me at least, is he was traumatized as a child, you know? And then, because parents died. Spoiler alerts, by the way, guys.
Jesus.
Sorry to ruin that for you. But yeah, no, he lost his parents at a young age, traumatized by that experience, and grew up to become the Dark Knight, so that hopefully no other kid would ever have to do that. And he's got all of these mentees, right? These children, the Bat family, essentially, that
Yeah.
he brings up with the um, intention of raising them to do good with their lust for vengeance, I guess you could say, or
No,
their.
yeah, no, I understand exactly what you're saying. By the way, that's Frank Miller's contribution to the Batman mythos. Nobody had
Yeah.
written that before he did in '86 with Dark Knight. I loved it. I agree. It's taking something that's essentially corny, like Adam West Batman. Don't get me wrong, I dig Adam West Batman for what it is, but he made it make sense. Why does he have a bunch of children sidekicks? The answer originally was because they wanted someone that the kids could identify with, Robin the Boy
Yeah.
Wonder. And Frank Miller, just the way you described it very well, made it make sense. He's recruiting children because he's playing out his own pathos and he doesn't want them to be victims. And he's arming them in his one man war as well as
Yeah.
playing out his own trauma. Took something that's essentially corny and made it dark, psychological, and made it make sense. And it's, yeah, I dig it.
Which is why the litmus test is: can you picture this Batman? Not comforting necessarily, but like connecting with a child on that level in order to prevent them from spiraling, and having a tragic, panic-induced, war flashback PTSD experience, like trying to take that burden off of them. I can't see Batfleck doing that necessarily the way that he was handled in the most recent adaptation.
Yeah, have you ever read Dark Knight Returns?
No,
That's fine if you haven't. I was just wondering if you
I
had
have,
it. That display of Batman is Miller's own, if you will. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be Batman canon. It's just he wanted to write the death story of Batman, so did, and it became legend. And the influences off of it are crazy. That like it influenced everything. Even though it's not canon, that's interesting that it had that much influence. Robin is dead in that story. He died a long time ago, and that is part of the Batman carries the guilt for that. I brought him into this. I'm responsible ultimately. It's part of why he's such a bitter, grizzled old man. And that Bruce Wayne in Batman v Superman is very much that mid. They play him in the movie as mid 40s. In Dark Knight Returns, he's early 50s. He's retired. He's old. I love that line in BVS. I'm now older than my father ever was. He always looked up to his father as like the old man, the mature guy. What does Bruce Wayne think when he's now older than his father was when he died in Crime Alley? That's
yeah.
interesting, but they didn't do enough with it. I wanted to see Ben Affleck explore all of that stuff. I think he would have made a lot more of them. You would have seen the not tender side. I get what you're getting at. The mentorship, the whatever.
The guiding
Yeah.
perspective.
I personally think you would have seen more of that in Ben Affleck's version. Because when you look at The Town, it's about a bank robber, but he's the proverbial hooker with a heart of gold. He's this brutal, violent man, but he has this incredible soft side to him that he only shows in very careful circumstances. I think you would have seen that in The Batman, the film he was going to make, until the whole thing went awry. Sad. Fucking sad.
Best version of Batman that I think I've ever seen portrayed on the screen, right? Do you ever watch the animated versions?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There was the Royal Flush Gang.
Yep.
For whatever reason, the death of Ace, that scene embodies everything that makes up Batman's character. Right? Because instead of essentially killing her like he was instructed to do or whatever, to kind of end the psychic whiplash that everyone else was experiencing, or the hallucinations that were going on, because I don't know, there was some reality bending nonsense that went on. It was a while ago that I watched it last, but yeah, this was like the most emotionally jarring thing that I've ever seen, and it's powerful, especially coming from an animated kids version of what it is that you're watching. It's powerful. But Batman, instead of doing what it is that he knows for certain is definitely going to prevent the most harm, he sits down with Ace and waits for her while she dies because she's terrified. She's not malicious. She's not doing this because, she wants people to suffer. She's terrified and she's dying, and she just needs someone for the first time in her life to actually sit there and relate to her. And that's what Batman does. And by gosh, diddly, you don't always have to be a crime-fighting, ass-kicking badass to be a hero. And that's what's important about that, because that's kind of like a reminder of exactly what it is that heroes do, is save the day, even in small, mundane ways such as that. Sorry, this got really deep. We got super into it.
That's what happens during cocktail hour. People start drinking, and all of a sudden, I love you, man.
The animated Batman. He was so good. So precious. But he's still a badass. That doesn't take away from his badassery. Knowing when not to pull the trigger is just important as knowing when to.
No, I agree.
That's actually, okay, it's going to sound cheesy, but this is a lesson that I took with me into police exploring, and that's what got me ranked statewide in hostage negotiations. Right? Because it wasn't that I could get him to release all the hostages that was what scored me the most points. It was getting the hostage taker to actually give up himself as well, instead of just having SWAT storm the building. Because I could make either call. I could talk him down, or I could just send in SWAT after we had all the hostages safe and sound. And getting someone, talking them down to come out of the building with as little fuss as possible, that goes a longer way, because that means you can relate to people better. And that's important in police work, and that's something that gets overlooked a lot. He can just pull the trigger and use rubber bullets. Okay, but escalation doesn't always have to be the thing that people go to initially. I would use it as a last resort, even if it's not killing anybody. Last resort. Very last resort.
That's, yeah, I can see a lot of police looking at you like, oh, God, the conversationalist is here. It's like, there's a bunch of people that were in psychology with me in undergrad that went on to go do police stuff. And then a bunch of people in my master's degree program that also went on to do police stuff. And it's, unfortunately, they were all very much of the militarized police force stereotype.
Yeah.
Where it's, I'll tell you what the problem is you got to keep these crooks in line. The only thing they understand is force. And it's like, holy Christ. It's...
That's not accurate, though. That's a misconception. That's a misperception of the public. Because most of the time, you're not dealing with hardened criminals that, rape, pillage, murder, and kidnap on the daily. You're dealing with people. You are dealing with the public. You are answering, calls to domestic situations wherein an argument got too heated and people are too passionate about their side or whatnot, and you are trying to calm the situation. You are acting as their therapist. You're not just throwing the door open with your foot and arresting everyone in sight, because that's not how you de-escalate a situation. No, what you do is you walk in there and you assess what's going on. You find out if a crime has been committed, and then you mediate. A lot of police work is about mediation between parties, because a lot of calls that people go on are domestics. That's actually a pretty hefty percentage of them. The other percentage being retail thefts, which not a lot comes of those. And of course, it depends on what township that you're into. My municipality, for instance, doesn't have a lot of violent crime. The one that I interned in didn't have a lot of violent crime at all. The majority of the calls that I went to were vandals, domestics, and retail thefts. And those were the ones that stuck out. Although one time we did have a sexual assault, and I did get to be a CSI on that investigation. It was pretty cool. Um, like we didn't find a lot though because it had been a week out, but it did make the news. The investigation, that was pretty cool.
So if people go looking, they're going to find a news clip of you, CSI.
No, 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 no. My
Oh.
name's not mentioned. I have no actual direct ties to the sexual assault that happened, like in terms of the investigation. I was just there with the CSI looking for evidence that we were supposed to find, that we might have found,
Mm.
um, to support the story that the woman had. We already had a confession on tape, um, because the the detectives on that case, they got a court order allowing for a wiretap, essentially. So the lady that was abused called her abuser directly on the phone, and essentially she got him to confess on the phone
Mm.
while being recorded. And technically, because the state's a one or two party consent state, it normally doesn't hold up, but because they got an order beforehand, it was allowed. And that's what got the guy. And that was what was in the news.
Okay.
We were just out there looking for other minute details from the case that might have supported the actual arrest or the story that was there, in addition to the confession, because we already had the confession. So I think we were looking for a button that had gotten ripped off the blouse when it was ripped open, and any other disturbances. But like I said, it had been like a week since the actual assault itself had gone down when we actually served the search warrant. Oh, we were also looking for video footage, which we did get. Video footage of her actually being there and leaving disheveled. So I
Huh.
did get to look at that.
How long have we been streaming for now?
Almost 2.5 hours. We're about 4 minutes from the 2.5 hour mark.
Yeah.
You want to stream for like another 4 hours? Ask questions of the chat,
For four
or
more
have it?
hours, yeah.
No, no, for 4 minutes. Did I say 4 hours?
You did.
Wow. Yeah, no, only 4 minutes, Polly. I'm apparently super tired.
Yeah, 4 minutes and ask questions or chat, ask questions of us if they will. Sure.
You want to stream for 4 more hours? No, I don't. Weebo is not a crime fighter just like Batman. I decided not to go that route, actually, because of my internship. I kind of found it a little bit boring. Not gonna lie. Because, so, I was in the suburbs of, the Chicagoland area. That was where my internship was. And there's not a lot of activity out there, although the pay is fantastic, for a cop or a detective in that area. The issue is there's not a lot of certainty there. And there's not a lot of, I don't want to say meaningful work, but stuff that I would find compelling as a person and need a bit more action. Or just
action. No,
not action, just more something stimulating,
Yeah. I of the people that I know who have gone into law enforcement, be it and law enforcement in the general sense of the term, prison guards and prison personnel and psychologists that have gone into forensic psychology,
Yeah.
through whatever fucking means. I've already talked this to death with other fucking people and people that have gone into especially forensic psychology. By whatever mechanisms it's caused, they end up being segregated from the rest of society by not thinking of themselves as being the rest of, they are the overseers, the onlookers, the administrators of society, because they're dealing with the worst of society, as it always gets said, right? And they begin to think of civilians, and they actually start using that language. You see it come out. It's like,
Yeah.
Or civilians or citizens, they end up saying. It's like, well, citizens don't understand that. It's like, yeah, you're separating yourself, a separate class of people. And I'm not really interested in debating under the law whether they are or not and all that stuff. And it's like, partially they are, partially they're not. It just doesn't seem like for a lot of people it would be psychologically healthy to do that.
No, it
I know
doesn't.
some people that there's some people that seek it out and crave it and are very much interested in that. People that I have seen who have gone into it and then left it. They left it specifically because of what I'm describing right now. They didn't want to be around not so much the criminals. It was be around the law enforcement people. Um,
There is a
the
culture there, I will
Yeah,
say, and it's something that doesn't just exist within law enforcement. It also kind of exists in the military as well, because it's such a unique experience that does set you apart from a lot of people. It does kind of alienate you from other people. You stop
hmm
thinking of yourself as a member of the general public and start thinking of yourself as, you know, in this brotherhood. Because that's what they are essentially. This is your creed. These are your people. They only understand what you're going through.
and it
Your problems are not normal people problems.
and it I right. I hear you there. And the part that I found like the most frankly frightening is the way in which they would excuse their own criminal behavior in pursuit of what they view. It's like there's two different groups. There's the law enforcers, who I am one of, and then there's the law breakers. And they act like those are intrinsic characteristics,
Hmm.
that they're
Yeah.
categories that they were born into or put upon or whatever have you, where prison guards who will commit what are crimes under the law, smacking around prisoners. And it's like, if I'm escorting someone who is in prison for child abuse or rape of a woman or whatever, they will smack their heads off of a wall when they're walking down a hallway and say it with, well, this guy's getting off pretty easy and he's in protective custody, and why not? And it's like, you're visiting your aggression and anger upon somebody in the form of physical violence. That's called assault and battery. That is a crime. And it's like, well, are you really gonna? It's like, you guys, like, I'm not trying to argue that they need to be saints. I'm trying to argue how the people that I've talked to that got out of law enforcement was specifically because they did not like that kind of cultural thinking.
Yeah.
Where it's like, why are you doing that? Well, because I can. I'm part of the law enforcement group, so therefore they don't ever consider whether it's wrong. That's a further act of law enforcement to do that. There's the good guys and the bad guys, and the law is merely a means by which the good guys keep the bad guys in line. And they couldn't handle that. They found it depressing and didn't want to be a part of it anymore.
It can be a little bit soul sucking. Although I think that's also maybe a individual like police or unit problem, because that wasn't something that I felt was the case at the precinct that I worked at, the small municipality that I worked at. That wasn't necessarily a feeling that I got. Not a
Mm.
feeling. It sounds so silly. I didn't gauge that from the officers that I talked to.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, they were close, but it wasn't. And they had a perspective on the job, but it wasn't anything disturbing on that level. They weren't otherizing themselves to such an extent where they were exempt. Although a lot of the officers that I did talk to were pretty young. Some of the more seasoned ones had a little bit more nihilism in them. I remember my advisor, my police exploring advisor, he had a very interesting perspective on crime and whatnot. Very no nonsense, very don't be an idiot type of thing.
Right.
Very loud, very boisterous. And he was of the perspective that, and I'm probably not doing it the best justice because I'm just going off the top of my head and I'm remembering stuff, is um, most people are just people doing really stupid stuff, making mistakes and whatnot. And so he'd give them that, leeway, because depending on what it was, that was the issue. Like if he came across a kid with a paraphernalia, he'd give them the option to break the paraphernalia or to dump the joints down a sewer drain and
Right.
then send them on their way. Or he could arrest them and take it into evidence lockup and then have it incinerated that way. And so obviously most people would choose the former option. He was a good man. He is a good man. He's retiring this year, actually. But very interesting personality. The only time Boyfriend ever met him, actually, was when he was getting picked up by this officer, walking down the middle of our most busy street at 2 a.m. when he was 18 or so. And so Boyfriend doesn't like my old advisor very much, but I love him to death because, I don't know, we just mesh very well. He's got an incredible sense of gallows humor. And I think that's also something that's very typical amongst police officers. They don't have a normal sense of humor at all. I don't know if that's developed or if that's just something that they all have in common, but that's the case.
Yeah, one of my friends, a girl who was doing like forensic psychology, she had this really harsh condemnation of a certain variety of people that gravitated towards law enforcement. And one of the things I found interesting is they talk about like law enforcement, the street or in corrections, meaning prison guards viewed themselves as the same as police officers. We're all part of the same brotherhood or category or whatever you want to call it, right? So I'm thinking of going to work in the street, meaning go be a beat cop or go be, eventually a detective or whatever, and they refer to it as the street.
Mm-hmm.
She was talking about them, and it's like, from what I've seen dealing with them, because to work in a prison as a forensic psychologist, you have to go through certain kinds of police training. You're technically law enforcement under the law, under certain circumstances, etc., just to be in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I couldn't do it anymore, and I went off into private practice after a while. This is somebody that we both were in undergrad psychology majors together, but then she went on into graduate school for psychology, and I didn't. Yeah, I had enough of that. I was fine being into going off into political science. But anyway, she would describe police officers. She goes, the ones who are the scariest are the ones that want to go into the army, but in my opinion, are afraid to do it. And I was like, huh? What do you mean by that? She said, police officers have all the trappings of a military life, and they want to go to war, but they want the war to be really safe, and they want it to be 9 to 5, where they can go home from the war at night. Think about it. They have rankings. They have dress uniforms, standard uniforms. They get to deal with arms. They're separate from society. They're not citizens. There's sir and so forth. There's orders that you're given by superiors and orders you give to underlings. It has all the style of and trappings of a quasi-military, but you get to live at home, and it's a 9 to 5. You go home at night, and so they can think of themselves as living the. Well, not all of them, but it has the whiff of danger, and the aura of danger and real danger under certain circumstances, but never the kind of danger you're going to find in a war zone. So it's like safe soldiering. This was her description of it, and she was not saying they're all like that. Remember, it started off by me saying the ones that I am the most worried by and the most depressed by are the ones that gravitated into it because this is what I see them liking about it.
Off the top of my head, that actually makes sense because there are like 3 types of cops that I'm familiar with. There's the cops that just really love the law and they want it to be upheld, and that's their thing. Okay. That's the rarest type that I have.
That's unfortunate that's the rarest. Okay, going on.
That are just super passionate about home monitoring the world,
Okay.
Being that guy that likes putting revels in that experience of like being nitpicky about how far over the line you were or something, those kind of people. Those are assholes. No one likes them. Then there's the people who go in it thinking that they're going to get all of the action out of it and not be super endangered by that experience. The action jockeys, the ones that grew up watching Magnum PI or whatever.
Sure.
And think that it's going to be super cool and they're going to get all the girls or whatever. And then there's just the normal people that do it for the paycheck. And then, it just becomes part of the way that their life is. Because most cops that I've met are pretty normal, except, you take your job a little bit more seriously, but you have a little bit more of a loosey-goosey type of attitude when it comes to like gallows humor.
Right.
So with that kind of, so yeah, there are 3 types of people that gravitate towards that job that I'm aware of. There are probably a few more that I'm not thinking about, but off the top of my head, that's the way that I would classify it. Yeah, so we got the hall monitors, we got the action jockeys, and then just the normal guys who want a paycheck, because it is a really good gig if you just want to get paid.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Ryan just said in chat, a lot of military and law enforcement, it's just a job, that there's a lot. And I bet you that's another aspect of, again, I wasn't trying to describe all law enforcement that way. It was her description from her experience of the people that were the most concerning to her as a psychologist. That like these are the people that are given this authority and power. That's bad. That the majority of the troubles and problems, and particularly violent officers and the ones that have complaints against them, tended, in her opinion, to fall into that generalized category. Weebs, I think you're really gonna dig The Departed.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't be your favorite movie, but there'll be a lot to discuss there. A particular scene comes to mind where one of the main characters, played by DiCaprio, Billy Costigan, is sitting there in a psychologist's office that he's mandated by the courts to go to. And she sees a lot of police officers. And anyway, he's sitting there and he goes, I don't know, like that cop who just left the office as I was coming in. And she said, how did you know he was a police officer? And he kind of gives her like a look of, what? He goes, I don't know. He goes, bad haircut, no fashion sense, and some kind of scumbag air of entitlement.
Okay.
A scumbag air of entitlement.
Wow. Okay, we are 10 over, Polly.
All right.
It's a shame because this was actually getting really good conversation-wise. Not that it wasn't good before, but now we get into the meat and potatoes, the nitty-gritty, all that jazz. But unfortunately, it is past time. So I would like to thank chat for coming out and watching us and commenting, certainly. And to all those who donated, especially thank you. You guys are the sponsors of the show. You make things happen. Thank you. I appreciate you. To all those who are going to watch later, thank you kindly for staying and enjoying the show. To all those who liked, commented, subscribed to my boy, Polly.
Woo.
Thank you. And Polly, thank you for showing up.
Wow.
I appreciate it.
You didn't need to say it like that.
Thank you for being here, Polly.
No
Thank
problem.
You for it's always
a good time.
You're the best.
Thank you, everybody, for the donations. Greatly appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything you want to show, Polly?
Just my channel in general. We're over there. Fun things are always happening. Noir Bar, the late night chill streams that I do. Eventually, Weebo is going to come by for one of them if I ever pick a more reasonable time for her. I'm just typing my link out in chat. There it is. And then also Comic Curation. I do a Jack and Inquisitor. And then that fun new series I'm doing, Movies I Barely Remember. There's already one up, and I just got to edit the other 2. And then, now that Weebo's reminded me, the
holiday special
Christmas bonus that we did. Jesus. Well, it doesn't. It's fine. It'll be fine. I'll finish editing that and put it up. But didn't we decide we're gonna post it on both our channels so we can see how many more views you get than me? Which
yeah, we were gonna do that.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, thanks, guys, and until next time. Oh, I forgot. Wednesday bonus video.
Woo.
Yep, it is entitled "What Would You Do for a Raid Shadow Legends Sponsorship?" And I'm just gonna leave you with that. All right, enjoy. Au revoir.
Have a good night, all.